A SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on The Fan. Some breaking news in the association this afternoon. The Buss family is entering into an agreement to sell their majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers at a $10 billion valuation. The new owner is Mark Walter, CEO of TWG Global. He already has holding interests in the Dodgers and Sparks, among other sports entities. The NBA Finals resume Thursday back in Indianapolis for Game 6. The Pacers needing a home win over the Thunder to force a Game 7. Ty Halliburton's status for the potential elimination game still up in the air as he works through a right calf injury. On the gridiron, former Packers star cornerback Jair Alexander signed with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a one-year deal worth a maximum of $6 million. The deal reunites Alexander with his college teammate Lamar Jackson. On the diamond, the Mariners looking to win the rubber game in their series with the Red Sox this afternoon, but it's Red Sox up 3-1 right now at the end of the seventh inning. Luis Castillo allowing 3 earned in 6 innings of work. The Mariners getting their lone run on a wild pitch. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of Primetime with Isaac and Sue. Weekdays 3 to 7. 1080 The Fan.
If you can find the time to explore the mind of a stripper, then you can find the time to spend with your actual family.
Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Damn! What they on? All steroids and no carbs? Them some thick-ass kids.
This is Primetime.
We're not like you. We're grown-ups.
Your source for the best in local, regional, and national sports.
Oh, my goodness.
Here are Isaac Ropp and Jason Sakanik with Primetime on 1080 The Fan.
Hey, what it do?
Ahoy!
What's up?
Hey, you guys! Now we're
Duval. Hey, you guys, was that Electric Company?
No, that's Sloth. That's Goonies.
Goonies.
Hey, you guys!
That's
Although
right.
I don't know if you can do that anymore because then, like, Sloth is,
That's when he turned good, right?
Sloth was always good. What are you talking about?
Was he? I thought they thought he was bad at first.
Well, he was chained up by the Fratellis, and then,
I haven't seen Goonies in a long time.
Goonies is great. Goonies does hold up a little. Like, there's a lot of times you watch those movies from your youth, and it's just like, But Goonies holds up, and I think they're doing the 30th.
Well, so much of it's in like the
40th.
cave on their
40th.
little quest, so it's away from things that would date it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can like mimic Sloth anymore because Sloth is, I don't
Probably
know.
not.
I don't know what you can and can't do. I don't know.
Because Sloth is
Well, he's
mentally challenged.
Well, he's challenged just in a lot of ways. I don't even know what Sloth. That's the thing is Sloth doesn't even have a real condition, but people will get all, cancel-y and you can't do that. So I don't know. Sloth is great though.
Well, he had a kind heart.
Yes, he did. And he loved Chunk, and he's going to go live with Chunk. And I don't know how that works. They don't really explain that. Chunk's like, you're going to live with me now. And I'm like, I don't know what the process of that is. I'm guessing there's some sort of government agency involved. But I'd like to believe that Chunk and Sloth lived happily ever after. Till Chunk went off to college, then that was a little weird. You can't have Sloth in the dorm room with you. And then Chunk's parents they never talk about what happens down the road. The movie just ends. And it's like, it's happily ever after. There's consequences at the end of that.
All right, well, how's everybody doing today? You guys all good? It's a big Wednesday program.
Big Wednesday program.
We love Wednesdays here.
Is it a big Wednesday program?
What are you smiling about?
Well, if you want to know what's going on, hand, foot, and mouth in the Buckley household, that's what's going on.
Oh, for heaven's
Again?
sakes,
Again.
Buckley.
Yeah.
Dude, what is your wife doing to not take care of those kids?
It's not the wife, it's the daycare, man.
What a terrible thing to say.
I like stirring up problems at the Buckley
I
household.
dropped both kids off, at 9 o'clock.
Hey,
I was due back there at 10 because they're having a little post-Father's Day brunch with dads and their kids.
That's sweet.
So I had an hour to go over to the gym, which is right across the street. And before I could make it back, I got a call from the daycare that, no, you can't attend the brunch with your boys because you need to take the little one home. He has hand, foot, and mouth.
No good.
now can adults get that?
Yeah.
Yes, and it can be painful.
Yeah. It's like a chicken pox sort of thing, right?
Kind of, yeah. You get little sores in your mouth, on your hands, and on your feet.
Yeah. Well, Buckley, I don't know what to
God,
tell you, but
Kids are so gross.
you're just running a bacteria breeding program over there.
And we got an email or like a message from the daycare at like 9:20 a.m. that, hey, we have one reported case of this, and then sure enough, like 20 minutes after that, they're like, oh, by the way, it looks like your kid has this too.
So what you're saying is daycare is basically a ball pit.
It's a cesspool. Yeah.
Was he patient 0? Or
No, he was patient 1, I guess. Because they were already aware of another kid that had it that they found out about earlier in the morning.
Didn't you have that last year too?
Yeah. Sometime in the past.
I
This is
assumed
not
it
our
was-
first bout
Do
with
they
the
ever
hand, foot, and
clean
mouth.
these places?
No.
They
I assumed
do.
it was because Buckley was living in an asbestos mold household, but he's moved out of that,
Yeah,
and you're still dealing with this.
that's right.
Therefore, I can conclude poor parenting. It's the only
Yeah, it's fine.
the only
It's
thing that
fair.
makes sense to me is the Buckley household, poor parenting.
Living in squalor.
Living in squalor. I would expect more out of it because now you're living with Nana, right?
That's right. Cece, as she
Cece.
goes.
I would expect more out of Cece.
Yeah.
Do better, Cece. Do better.
I don't think it's Cece's problem. I think it's daycare's problem.
Because clearly Buckley and his wife aren't going to get it done. I'm going to have to leave it to grandma now.
I mean, I'm serious. Like, I know kids are gross and there's only so much you can do, but do they ever like?
It's impossible because
I know it's impossible, but how much do they try? Is my question. Just because it's impossible doesn't mean we shouldn't try to disinfect things.
I would assume that most decent daycares try to do their
They do it
best.
every day, multiple times
It's
a
just
day.
there's nothing. It's the same thing if you take your dog to we take our dog to like a 1 day a week to socialize. He goes and it's like his doggy play date. And it's in a constant state of someone's coming home with kennel cough or you get this or you get that. If you put enough people together, I'll bet you if you did it adults. If you had like a daddy daycare where like you got all the ne'er-do-well dads that got together 4 times a week to drink, gamble, and whatever, and they were there for 8 hours a day, you would spread God knows what amongst. You just can't have groups of people in that sort of interaction sharing every pair of scissors, every mat, every book.
all the tables, all the little plastic bibs, all
just,
What if we gave kids little bubble uniforms?
Ooh, I like
that. Ooh,
that. Like little. What if we put them in those?
the bubble babies.
Yeah, the bubble babies. You
Yeah.
know, like where you get in those spheres and you bump into each other.
Yeah.
Just put them in that, and then
Yeah.
occasionally we dump some like Lysol down in there, and
That's
away
right.
you go.
Swish them around.
I like it. I like where you're going with this.
Look, if I were a teacher, that's what I'd want.
Yeah.
I'd advocate for that. I'd be on the picket lines advocating for that. Kids are, I mean, it's just like it's just like everybody I know that has littles, like your age kids, Buck's age kids. It's just constant.
Well,
The biggest
and
thing
then
is
it goes around the house. It goes to the other kid, and then it goes to the dad, and then it goes to the mom, and then
Yep.
it starts over again in a month.
Yep, that's right. That's exactly how it goes.
well, kids are. If I could describe kids in one word, it's sticky. They're always sticky.
that's true.
And what does sticky lead to? Things sticking to you. So you're just a magnet for God knows what. And then there's a runny nose, and then you're taking your sticky ravioli fist and you're touching your nose with it, and then you're touching everything else, and it's just you can't. It's what it is. It's the grossness of human beings, and then you remove like any sort of thought of, oh, I should clean my hands or I shouldn't touch that. You can't.
So
There's
now
just-
I'm worried.
Yeah.
Do you want to know why?
You're
That
gonna
I
get
might have
hand in what is it, foot and mouth or
Hand, foot, and mouth.
Hand, foot, and
HFM.
Yeah.
I'm worried because this is the one day that Buck and I shared. We were both toying with there's a lefty.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
There's a lefty driver
yeah.
out there.
I probably would
Is
have told
Buck
you
a
about
lefty?
that. Yeah, that's
we're
right.
both lefties, so we share clubs sometimes.
Well, I have no sores on my handsies, so we're good.
That's what you think.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, I don't have any. You can look.
Oh my goodness, dude! If you get that,
I'm
gonna
gonna.
be
I
so
will.
pissed.
I will
From-
absolutely murder him.
I'm not gonna lie.
I will murder him.
I say
Because
this,
you know what? I gave him that driver. I didn't have to do that.
No,
Dude,
you did
again,
not.
if I had the monkey paw to make a wish,
you wanted
dude,
it to happen.
the amount of comedy that would just the pure enjoyment I would get from you getting some sort of
Dude,
weird mouth disease.
That's what I get for gifting a driver to Buckley is HFM.
Well, let's wait until you get the HFM first.
That's fair.
oh my
That's
goodness.
fair.
You better hope that
Not
I don't
happening.
have some sort of what is that like the secret? Isn't that book where you manifest things into the
I
world?
think that's right.
You better hope that I don't have that power because I'll tell you right now, during the break, I'm going to be praying to my God, Tom Cruise, that you get foot, hand, and mouth or whatever the hell that is.
Not Jeff Bridges. A little bit of an upset.
Well, Tom Cruise has more of a spiritual sort of.
Sure.
Now, Jeff Bridges is my hero.
There you go.
But I don't think that Jeff Bridges has spiritual powers. Tom Cruise, I think, is master of the universe.
Right.
He's making deals with L. Ron Hubbard or the devil or whatever it is. In Tom, we trust. So I don't really have anyone to pray to other than the Allfather. So I'm going with I'm doing some Tom Cruise thing, and it would just like imagine going to the Fan Golf Classic and Rob comes down with
I may not be there.
with foot, hand, and mouth disease because of Buck's driver.
You may not be seeing me on Tuesday because I'm down with HFM.
Is the gout spreadable? Is that possible? Oh my goodness. Well, don't have kids.
Well,
or you're going to get diseases.
This is one of the reasons I've always said that.
Yeah.
But somehow people don't listen.
Well, again, just
And they keep popping them out, and they don't disinfect them. And then they bring them to daycare because they got to go to work. Can't take a day off work.
Well, that's the thing. And I'm assuming that the Buckleys are responsible because Buck will often, oh, not often, but Buck has days where he has to miss because the kids are sick. And to your credit, you do not send him to daycare. But
and that's where a lot of this starts. Is
and-
kids
yeah.
parents either saying I don't have another choice, or not realizing that their kid's got something they're sending them with.
And I think there's a lot of that where maybe it's a single parent or both parents work and it's like, hey, my kid's got the sniffles, but I got to go to work and I don't have anyone to watch him. So guess what? Here's some children, Sinex or whatever. And I'm dropping your little ass off at that and we'll see what happens. I really think that is a huge part of why daycares get people sick. Yeah, that's, and I
Well, it's not just daycares; it's schools.
well, same thing. Like I want to blame parents, but I get it. Like your kid isn't dying. The kid is a little stuffy. The
You
kid's
only
a
have so
little-
many options depending on what you do.
Yeah, there's people that you can't. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you don't show up for work, you don't get paid. Hey, I get it, man. You got to send little Johnny, little Susie to school being stuffy.
And they don't really care.
No,
The kids,
the kids are fine.
they're sick. They're like running around,
Oh yeah,
throwing up.
yeah.
Like,
Kids.
pass me the ball.
When you're a kid, like
They don't ask out of the game.
No. They'll play through. They'll play through just about anything. And then if you are sick, then you get to stay home and like watch The Price is Right or whatever. But you got to be like really sick for that.
What's
You know,
daytime TV like these days?
don't know, man. Do we still have like do they still have the stories? Is it like Days of
The
Our
story?
Lives? And,
Oh,
General Hospital, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because when I was sick, you'd get the morning, like the morning talk shows, and they still have those, still like The View and whatever. And there's like the local one, like Good Day Portland or
Is
whatever.
Kelly Ripa still on?
Yeah, I think Kelly Ripa's still on. You had the Good Morning Americas, and then you would transition into the game shows. You get The Price is Right, and then that would go over to my mom. My mom would be momming or whatever it is she did, and then she would turn on her stories,
Yeah.
and then you get like Days of Our Lives,
3 in a row.
As the World Turns, or whatever. And those were fascinating.
Some of those are still on.
Yeah, because when you were a kid and you didn't know what was going on, like you just would tune into it and you're like, oh my God, this is what's on daytime TV. It's like the most insane things you've ever seen.
Guiding Light,
Yeah.
the longest running soap opera.
Yeah.
It began as a radio drama in 1937.
Still around, huh?
Oh, no.
Oh.
It transitioned to TV in 1952, airing until 2009.
Oh, no more Guiding Light.
That was the longest running.
Is the rest of that still like?
I thought General Hospital was.
Oh yeah, I remember.
still
Yeah,
going.
General Hospital. I just remember my mom's favorite was like sands through the hourglass.
I watched that one.
These are the days of our.
Did you ever have
lives."
a Days of Our Lives phase, or as the kids called it, Days?
No, I just when I was sick, I remember my mom would watch that.
I had a Days of Our Lives phase.
You like that? What?
I got into it. Bo and Bo and
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I don't know.
I remember one character. His name was Bo.
Yeah, the 2025, the current soap operas on broadcast television. You have General Hospital, The Young and the Restless still, and The Bold and the Beautiful.
Do you know who makes a recurring appearance on General Hospital that you know of very well in the sports space?
I do know this.
Stephen A.
Forehead
Caitlin
Boy.
Clark is wild.
That's right.
He's an actor.
He plays Brick. He's been in General Hospital 29 times.
But what's his character like? What's his deal?
I think he's
Well,
I think he's the doctor.
Storylines.
Oh, is
Brick
he?
was first seen in April of 2016 when Sonny Corinthos or Corinthinos called him to wire Paul Hornsby's office so Sonny could hear Paul's discussion with Carlos Rivera. He saw Sonny again on August 18th to keep tabs on Julian Jerome. Brick asked about Carly Spencer, who he has a crush on, and implies that he has known Sonny for a long time. I don't know. He's just a person.
Brick.
Dude,
Brick.
if I had like a national profile like that and someone offered me a daytime soap, I think that would be awesome. Like overacting like hell, ridiculous plots. I would be all over that.
You open yourself up to a whole new audience
I think that'd be
of
fantastic.
middle-aged moms that are bored.
The other one, and I
Bored
think
housewives.
we've talked about this, but my mom watched one, I think it was called like Loving. And dude, it was insane. Like that's the one that I would look forward to because like it had like one of the ladies was like a witch and she had like a portal to like hell. And then she had like a demon midget, or I can't say midget, is a little person, a demon little person that she would conjure up like through this mirror. It was like the most insane plot lines. My mom is adorably racist, and my mom would watch that. And I remember as a kid, I'm like, what is this? Like, Ma, let's turn this on. Let's go.
Ooh, I now have a list of crimes that Brick committed on General Hospital.
Brick.
Including he did forgery for Sonny Corinthos. He helped Jason Morgan escape custody.
That's ridiculous.
He shot and killed Carl Pine, one of Cyrus Renault's men, in defense of Jason and Dr. Britt Westbourne. He blew up one of Cyrus's shipments. He's responsible for the deaths of Vincent Novak and Charles Buscema as he and Spinelli moved Selena Wu's car bomb under Novak's limo. Arranged for two men to beat up Agent John Cates under Sonny's orders, and he shot and killed a woman in self-defense who was posing as a nurse. He had her body disposed.
This is Brick?
That's fantastic.
That's right.
Screaming A?
I love that he's going by Brick.
Bo and Hope.
Bo
Do you
and Hope.
remember Bo and Hope?
I remember Bo and Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were on days.
They're no Brick.
Young and the Restless started in 1973.
Still there.
So it's going on 52 years.
Yeah.
It's getting close to Guiding Light. Although if you count Guiding Light's radio years,
You probably don't, though, because that's a
don't.
different medium.
if you count just TV years, what did I say? 1952 to 2009. What's that? 48 plus 9?
48 plus 9, that'd
57?
be, yeah.
So only 5 years for Young and the Restless to pass Guiding Light.
Okay, go Young and the Restless. I think Mark Schler's on one of those, too.
You're right. He has been a recurring guest on
Yeah.
one of those, a
I think he's
recurring
on
character.
All right.
Someone said slow news day. Not really. We just want to talk soap operas.
Yeah, do you listen to our show?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Slow news day.
It's actually a busy news day.
Yeah, no, yeah.
The Lakers are for sale, and we're going to talk about that. But no, we got to cover Bo and Hope first.
Yes.
Thank
Those important things. Don't try to label
you.
us.
That's right. That's right. We're ready to go, though.
$10 billion. Do you have something to tell us, Rob?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you were talking about buying a mountain for a while, and that didn't work out. And
I almost bought Mount Bachelor, yeah.
now this, $10 billion seems like it'd be right up your alley.
Lakers,
I could see you.
me and Jay Moore.
You're a Southern California kid.
I'm actually not. I'm a Kansas boy.
You're always down in San Diego. That's Southern California.
God, I haven't been there for a year at least.
Seems like you're trying to deny these Laker rumors, is what I'm hearing.
Or have I? Now. All right, Lakers are for sale. How about that? We'll get to that next on The Fan. Saturday long. We will not be here tomorrow. It's Juneteenth. But we will be back on Friday and Monday, but then won't be here Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. We got the Fan Golf Classic.
We have to go not golf.
Yes. We have to go stand at a golf hole.
Yes. So, big headline today, JC Babes.
Mm-hmm.
We got some big news. The Lakers are selling.
Yes.
How about that?
For a lot of money. And I mean a lot of money.
Yeah, their valuation is $10 billion.
Yeah. So
That's with a B.
And the Buss family is going to keep 15%, but it just says for a period of time.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know.
I don't know.
But look, $10 billion value. So, just so you know, there have been 2 U.S. sports franchises that have sold for over $6 billion.
Mm-hmm.
The Commanders of football.
Yes.
And the Celtics of basketball.
Yeah.
The Lakers, I would imagine, I didn't look at the latest valuations, but Forbes puts this out every year.
They were valued at 7.
They're saying 10 now.
Yeah.
But the top 3 most valuable franchises in the U.S. have to be the Lakers, Yankees, and Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
So they are going to absolutely blow the doors off of the record sale for U.S. sports franchises.
Yes. Yeah. So the Lakers, Forbes does this every year, and the Lakers were valued, I believe, at $7 billion. But
but were they ahead or they're behind the Cowboys, right?
They're behind the Cowboys. I'll look and see.
I feel like the Warriors are way up there now.
You know,
Have the Warriors passed the Lakers?
I'll take a look. See,
I doubt that
because of their new arena and everything.
The Cowboys are always number 1.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys were valued at 10. So this is as of last year.
I bet the Warriors are second behind the Lakers. They might even be behind the Bulls too, or the
So
Knicks.
the Lakers were actually 8th.
Oh,
So
wow!
Cowboys at 10.1, Golden State second. And this is all
Whoa.
sports.
Okay,
look at you!
Look at that.
8.8, and then the Rams 7.6.
Rams.
Well,
okay.
remember they have
New stadium.
they have a new stadium that costs $5 billion. Yankees at 7.5, Knicks at 7.5, Patriots at 7.4,
Knicks.
Giants 7.3, and then the Lakers at 7.1.
So all New York
Yeah.
or L.A.
And then to round out the top 10, the Jets and the 49ers. So yes, the smallest market that you have in there would be New England. Like,
oh yeah, Boston.
Boston.
So you have Dallas, Boston, New York, L.A.,
San
and
Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yep.
So stands to reason.
Stands
But
to
I
reason.
didn't know the Lakers were so low.
And Cowboys
What a bunch of
new. I
losers.
mean, Cowboys have it's new. It was the gold standard. Warriors brand new arena. Rams, Yankees. The Knicks don't, but the Knicks have the most famous venue in all of sports. The Patriots don't. The Patriots Gillette is been around. Giants new, Lakers new, Jets new, Niners new. So
New as in where they're playing.
yeah, you got new shiny. You got new shiny.
Well,
buildings.
listen, I don't know. There's a lot of questions to ask here about the Lakers selling.
Yeah.
But the main one that comes to mind for me is, what does Jay Moore think? And did Jay Moore talk her into this?
Well, she stands. If it's just her, because it's not just her, because she has some siblings that she kicked out, but they are going to split $8.5 billion. If they're keeping a 15% stake, and they're valued at roughly $10 billion, I think it's a little more than 10. $8.5 billion in cash influx, and by the way, the buses. This is like, it's not a secret. The buses are not.
Yeah, they're not wealthy outside the Lakers.
Yeah, they're rich, but they're not.
They're like Mark Davis.
Yeah, they're Mark Davis.
So-
They're only rich because of the Lakers. So they just went from being rich and owning the Lakers to, oh my God, we have $8.5 billion.
Yeah, I wonder. Okay, God, there's so many questions here. One, I wanted to point out that the buses paid $67 million.
Yeah.
For the Lakers.
Yeah.
$67 million, not billion, along with the Kings and the Forum.
Yeah, and
did
by
you
the
know
way-
that?
Yes, I did know that.
$67 million with another franchise and the arena thrown in,
And by the way, he had to leverage,
or the other arena.
the Dr. Buss had to
Yeah.
leverage like everything
Yes.
he had.
I remember that.
to try to make this happen. I mean, you want to
Crazy.
talk about the shrewdest move, because he did not really have the money to do this. And he's the sort of guy that in today's world could never sniff a pro team. But that dude managed to leverage everything, sell some buildings, get himself into this. And I know he's not around to see it, but his family will reap.
Or is he?
It's possible.
Ghosts.
The ghost. He is going to be around to see his prodigy reap that windfall from a $67 million investment to $8.5 billion, and you get to keep 50% of the Lakers period of time. So at some point they'll sell the rest of it. Does that mean that that's at a lower or higher valuation? I don't know, but billions are going into their pocket.
So it does seem like a lot of franchises are selling these days.
Yeah.
Because, and I would imagine that's the simple explanation there is that they're just worth so much money.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it stands to reason that, like, because I mean, rich people, like the really, really rich people, the richest of the rich, are all lining up to get into U.S. sports franchises, and to some degree, if you have enough money, they're lining up to buy into European sports franchises.
And this cat that's buying them, the Mark Walter guy, so he runs a.
Well, hold on. Let me finish my thought.
Go for it.
So, what was my thought?
Well, you said they're rich. They're really rich are lining up.
So everyone's lining up. If you have enough money, you want to be in sports because it's just like we said, the Buses bought that team for $67 million along with another team, and now they're selling for almost $10 billion. Okay. But I lost my train of thought. You killed me.
I did.
Yeah, you killed me.
Well, you said they were lining up to buy that, and if
I would imagine they're selling. Okay, I've got my train of thought back. This is the third time, and hopefully I don't lose it again.
Were you listening to the dude's story?
Is it possible that I have dementia?
It's possible.
What does early onset dementia look like?
This. But you got it back, so we're okay.
I did.
And you lost it again?
No.
Ron, are you paying attention?
Nope. So I would imagine the easy explanation for people selling, like the Commanders sold, the Suns sold, the Celtics sold, the Lakers are selling, the Blazers are selling. There's just a lot of franchises, it seems like, lately selling. Is just that they're worth so much money that it stands to reason that people would cash out, right? Yeah. Because there is a line to get in. Mm-hmm. So you would think that the other side of that coin would be, you don't sell these because you just keep passing them down, and Lord knows what your heirs and their descendants will get in 2 generations or 3 generations. I mean, like it's kind of, it feels really weird to say this, but it kind of feels short-sighted to sell a $10 billion entity knowing how this thing is going, how that market is moving. Sure. But yet it's like with Bus, I just wonder, does her life, I mean, I know she now has it in hand. Yeah. So does her life change? Yeah. Or like she could always leverage the Lakers, so she was always living as a rich person.
But this is a different kind of.
But now that she's cashed out, what does she do?
Yeah.
How does she live?
I think a lot of this, Cuban talked about this. And by the way, I guess Cuban and the guy that sold the Celtics, I guess they were her 2 closest confidants. So
Cubes was close with Jeannie Buss.
Yeah, and so was the guy that sold the Celtics. The guy that sold the Celtics, by the way, said that he did not want to deal with the passing it down. His was, and like,
he has kids?
Yeah, he has kids. And he was like, you know what? We're not doing this. We're not fighting over this. Battle for control.
So he thought they would fight over it.
And he just said,
I got news for him. When he dies, they're going to fight over his money.
I think it's a little bit easier to simply say, here's the money. And the other one, too, is for someone like that, or even for Bus, and maybe Cuban has some of this, too. I do think there's a difference between being worth a couple $100 million or even $1 billion on paper and having several $1 billion in cash. And at some point, Jenny Buss is what? She's got to be in her 60s, right?
Let's look.
Yeah, she's a little older. She's not, she's not a little.
A what?
Well,
63.
63. So
she looks great.
Yeah, at some point when you're 60, do you just not want to deal with the hassle anymore and all of that, and just say, I would like my, whatever billions I'm getting off of this, and I can still own a piece of the team. By the way, she's still going to be the governor of the Lakers, although they said that about Cuban and he kind of got tossed aside. But you're still part of it. You still get your suite. But now, dude, if you want to buy a $500 million yacht, or you want to just F off for a while and not care about anything, at some point, the idea of money is time, right? And you're in your 60s, maybe it's time to just be rich and not have to deal with any of that other crap.
Does she have kids? Do we know?
I don't know if she has kids or not.
Because I think that matters.
Yeah.
And maybe, like you said, she wants to split from her siblings.
Yeah.
And so this would be way. I mean, who knows? Lord
Yeah.
knows, but I just think it's
Or it's
interesting.
just so much money you can't.
Yeah, I get it.
Turn it down.
But I also think that if you have kids, you may be selling them a little. It sounds so weird to say this, but you may be selling them a little short selling. Like Jerry Jones said, he will never sell the Cowboys.
Yes.
He is going to die, and he's going to pass that on.
Yeah.
And to me, that seems like the smart thing to do. But I get it. There's different dynamics, and there's different. Everybody has different sensibilities. I'm not judging. It's just very interesting to me that a lot of people are selling these cash cows, and that's exactly what they are.
And glory holes.
I just think some of them that are selling are those that are not.
Yeah,
They're not FU rich, and this gives you FU money.
Well, anyway,
And by the way, no, Jenny Buss does not have kids.
I wonder if Jay Moore talked her into it, because I have a hot Jay Moore Jeannie Buss fact.
Yeah.
So they're married.
Yes.
So Jeannie Buss was with Phil Jackson, but they were never married.
No.
So they broke up, and now Jeannie Buss married comedian Jay Moore, like the biggest fall up of all time.
Of all time.
I mean, Jay Moore, absolutely golden.
Yeah.
So, did you know that they live in separate units in their building?
No.
She lives on the 3rd floor, and he lives on the 1st floor. Now, they say it's because he has kids and she doesn't, and she hates kids or something. Or she doesn't hate kids. She just wanted her own space.
I get it.
And she's Jeannie Buss. She can do whatever the hell she wants.
Exactly.
Perhaps Jay Moore said, well, maybe maybe we should live together. And maybe you selling the Lakers could afford us that luxury.
Something tells me that he's about to live on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor of their building because there's an influx of cash that's about to come in.
Is she the only U.S. sports owner to ever appear in Playboy?
That's a good question.
Marge Schott wasn't in there, was she?
Oh, God, no. There hasn't been that many female owners, so I'm willing to guess.
Hey, there are a ton now in the NFL.
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
I mean, if you look through the list of NFL owners, especially
but
controlling.
It's mostly wives of old dudes that have died.
Well, still, but let's not minimize it. They're in charge.
Yeah, I don't think they were. Well, anyway.
Good catch.
I'm stopping. I'm willing to wager that, yes, she is the only owner that has been in Playboy.
Okay. Well,
I'm learning that she had a mystery sibling that she learned about in 2018.
I'm guessing
that's even better than Jay Moore's bit.
I'm guessing Dr. Buss.
You do 23andMe and you find out you're related to Jeannie Buss?
Dude, I am shocked that Dr. Buss only has one illegitimate child. In fact,
it just says that Jeannie has one sibling. It doesn't mean that Dr. Buss didn't make other children with other people.
I don't know what the Vegas odds are on illegitimate Buss children, but I'm setting, dude, that dude was a notorious pea hound his entire life. I'm setting the over-under at 7.5.
He's got 6 kids here, not including the mystery or the surprise sibling.
Dude,
Jeannie, Jim, Johnny, Janie, Jesse, and Joey.
Dude, you know that there are so many gals living in penthouse apartments somewhere in L.A. with nice little trust funds thanks to Dr. Buss.
Okay, I got to backtrack.
Yeah.
A texter has called me out. How can you say that Moore was the greatest follow-up in history when a public school teacher married Bezos' ex-wife?
Yeah, but they're divorced now.
Well, so what?
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah.
You married Mackenzie Bezos, who is worth.
Yeah, I think she
what 30. How much? So I think she got like 50 billion or something.
Yeah,
and Jeannie's worth what?
Oh, well, she was worth a couple $100 million.
Well, but now
several billion.
Okay, so then like 5 times that woman was worth 5 times. What Jeannie's worth.
Yeah.
And that guy was a middle school teacher. Good point. you win that. You win that battle.
Touche.
All right. Mark Walters or Walter?
Walter.
Yeah. And he's the new owner, or will be the new majority owner.
Yeah, because he already owns like a 15 or 25% stake in the Lakers already.
And he owns, I think he's a minority owner of the Dodgers.
Dodgers and Sparks, as well as an F1 team and I think a soccer team too.
I think he owns pieces. Well, he's the head of a
like a global holdings company.
Yeah, global holdings company. So like his company and him own pieces of a lot of stuff. Some European soccer clubs, and he's an investment guy and he likes to invest in sports.
Well, I guess he's good. Everybody raves about him.
Yeah.
Who is the majority owner of the Dodgers?
He is.
You just said minority.
Oh, no, I think he is the majority owner of the Dodgers, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like you don't know that.
Outside, Walter is best known for his extensive investments in professional sports. He is the primary owner and chairman of Major League Baseball's Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, why'd you let me say he was minority?
Through Guggenheim
what's the matter with
Baseball
you?
Management.
He is the majority owner of the Dodgers. He's also the primary owner of Andretti Global, which is the race team, and he's the primary owner of the Sparks. He owns a majority of the National Basketball Association's Los Angeles Lakers now, and his holding company controls Premier League club Chelsea and La Liga 1 club RC Strasbourg, and he owns the Professional Women's Hockey League and sits on the board of his alma maters of Creighton and Northwestern. So he just...
Sports guy.
My dude's got his beak in a lot of stuff.
So he's a Midwest boy?
Yeah, he's miserable. I think he grew up in Iowa. Yeah,
Iowa?
Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He's
Whatever.
rich. Him personally, he's worth between $6 and $7 billion. Then he's got his investment firm. I think it's like $320 billion that they control.
Can I just say that I like him for one reason?
Talk to me.
I know nothing about him other than what you just read.
Yeah.
Never heard of him. And that's why I like him.
Yeah, he just kind of...
He's obviously not big on being in front of a microphone.
His Wikipedia says he is notoriously private.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I like that.
Yeah, all right.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, because sports owners oftentimes can be obnoxious and, like, take up too much bandwidth
Yeah,
in
the
sports.
Jerry Joneses of the
I
world.
always liked Cuban, but Cuban was, like, he never met a camera he didn't like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I kind of like that this guy, you know, he's just...
He just kind of keeps it quiet.
They also own an animal refuge in Florida.
Even better.
There might be a scandal here.
Tiger King crossover.
He might have been entangled
Did he
with
get
a
canceled?
South African beauty queen.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to read about
Is
this.
there a Mrs. Walter?
I don't know. He's claiming that he did not buy a hot executive a $13 million mansion, and so I just need to.
Oh my God!
I mean, I'm
13 million?
Well, he's worth
Well, I
several
know,
million.
but does she? I mean, $5 million?
Hey, man. Depends on if
$1
you're.
million
Depends
mansion?
if
Is
you're
that
hot
enough for one hot?
I'm gonna look into this.
God.
He claims he did not buy the hot girl
Can you
of 13.
imagine having that kind of money?
No.
Where
No.
it's like, baby, you're not even my wife. What do you want? I want a house. Okay, go
All
pick it out. It costs $13 million. Okay.
We neglected one crucial sports endeavor. He and his wife were the primary financial backers of the 2018-19 PSA World Squash Championships.
So he is married. So this would be a big deal if he did buy a hot.
Yes,
South
it would
African
seem
beauty queen.
so.
Yeah.
Nah, that's the price of doing business with a guy that rich.
Yeah. Yeah, he's alleged to have a close relationship with Alexandra Court, a South African beauty who was promoted to global head of institutional distribution in 2016. Ooh.
Dip in the Pen Company Inc.
Well, you know, dude,
Prove it.
when you're worth that kind of money, who
Like I said, the wife, she's not dumb.
You know what's up.
She's not dumb.
You know what's up. Dude, my man's over $325 billion worth of assets. You think a South African beauty queen's taking him down? Come on. He claims, though, that it was only a business relationship between the two.
Again, prove it.
Yeah. And he said, I guess there was a legendary Pacific Palisades, California mansion purchased by an entity seemingly linked to Walter.
Again, prove it.
13.5. And he's saying, hey, this is outrageous. What are you talking
That's
about?
right. Prove it.
Yeah, prove
That's
it.
what he's saying. Prove it.
Yeah.
Boy! We have another franchise for sale or selling. We'll get to that next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brian Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, some breaking news in the association this afternoon. The Buss family entering into an agreement to sell their majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers at a $10 billion valuation. The new owner, Mark Walter, is CEO of TWG Global and already has holding interest in the Dodgers and Sparks, among other sports entities. The NBA Finals resume on Thursday back in Indianapolis for Game 6. The Pacers needing a home win over the Thunder to force a Game 7 back in OKC. Tyrese Halliburton's status for the potential elimination game still up in the air as he works through a right calf injury. On the gridiron, former Packers star cornerback Jair Alexander has signed with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a one-year deal worth a maximum of $6 million. The deal reunites Alexander with college teammate Lamar Jackson. On the diamond, the Mariners looking to win the rubber game in their series against the Red Sox. They're late into that matinee at this point with the Mariners. Let's see. They have now fallen to the Red Sox. 3-1 is your final. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley, the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigart is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
recently did 23andMe and found out that Tommy Thayer is her dad.
Really?
That's fantastic.
I know 2 guys that did 23andMe and found out that their dad was not their dad. 2.
Yeah, that happens. There's a lot of people that find out that their parents, had some flings and they have some long lost siblings that they didn't know about.
Yeah.
Sowed some wild oats.
Yeah. Which, it's fine. But a lot of those olds at that time, they wouldn't talk about that.
No.
They wouldn't.
Very uncouth.
It was a simpler time back then.
you just take it to your grave.
Yeah.
And now they're like, 23andMe.
Shove that deep down and never speak of it again.
And then another text says it's only a scandal if the wife cares.
Yeah.
And that's right.
So I looked into it, and so this was back in 2017. So
No, we're talking about the new Lakers owner.
New Laker owner.
Dodger owner.
Yes.
Walter?
Mark Walter.
Mark Walter.
So Mark Walter.
Notoriously private.
Notoriously private. So he runs a like an investment holdings company. It's him and another guy, and they manage over $300 billion in assets. And then there was a gal.
You ever notice how all the really, really rich guys?
Yeah.
It's always like really generic things like that.
Yeah. I mean, what,
it's
like, just like, what do you do? I don't know.
I read the name of it is like TMG Holding, like
TWG Global.
Sounds
global, fake, made up.
Super fake, generic. Like, what even is that?
Is this just somebody who rubs elbows? Is that just their primary skill, or has he like built businesses?
Yeah, he's the CEO of Guggenheim Partners.
Okay, Guggenheim. Now that's a name.
Yeah. So it's him and another dude.
So wait, Guggenheim. How does the what?
I don't know, he's the CEO of Guggenheim Partners.
What?
I don't know. So there's another guy. Oh. So him and this other dude were like the big poobahs. And then there was a former South African beauty queen that was rising up the ranks. And they deny it, but this was off of the New York Post had a bunch of stuff on this. And then there was a financial, there's a bunch of articles in there about it. So I guess she was rising up in the company. And that's when they found out about that she was living in a $13.5 million home that appears to have been purchased by Walter and everyone, and he's married. And they were like, no, that's all false.
Just a business thing.
And then she went on a sabbatical for a couple months that turned into a year. And it sounds like one of the partners, other than Walter, was unhappy with the ascension of the blonde, hot South African gal. And while she was gone, her sabbatical kept getting extended, and then it sounds like they negotiated maybe it's best for all of us to go our separate ways. And as a parting gift for leaving said company after not working for a year, allegedly it was to the tune of around $100 million.
What?
And then it just
$100 million?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So that means she blackmailed him,
well,
right?
Know, hey, I'm not.
So the wife did care. Otherwise, it wouldn't be $100 million, would it?
What?
I just know that when you're a rising star in the company and one partner doesn't want you there and the other one may have bought you a $13 million house, my guess is you have some leverage. Oh. And then you walk away. You don't have to work for a year. They're like, hey, take a couple months off. No, wait, take a year off. And then instead of coming back to work, here's $100 million. Oh, and by the way, you still have the $13 million house.
I want her life.
Well,
I want her life.
I don't want your life.
What was her name again?
Something Alexandra Court, something like that.
How do you spell it?
Let me. I got to scroll
up.
down and see. And I would also like to point out that the Guggenheim partners say no. This is all inaccurate.
Again, prove it.
They speak glowingly of her.
How does the Guggenheim name get what? So he's the CEO of that.
He is the CEO of Guggenheim Partners.
And Guggenheim Partners, like investment firm? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's a holdings company.
Okay, so the Guggenheim name, the Guggenheim family.
Yeah.
All back in the old mining days.
I would assume.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how they got rich?
The Guggenheims?
Yeah. Aren't they big? They were a mining. They made a bunch of money in mining.
Very
successful. You've heard of the
very
Guggenheims,
rich.
right?
Yeah, there's like the Guggenheim's
museum.
like a museum.
Well, they're big into the arts.
Yeah.
But that's a wealthy family from yesteryear.
Yes.
I just wonder what the tie-in with them is.
That I don't know. But the chief investment officer is Scott Minard, and apparently he was not thrilled with the promotion of Alexandra Court, a South African beauty.
Spell her last name.
Court, Court. And
Just as it
she was promoted to head of institutional distribution in 2016. Then they had the whole house thing, and then she went on a sabbatical shortly after that. And then a year later, she left the company allegedly with $100 million severance package. So,
do you want to live in the Alexandra Court apartments in Portland?
No, I want Alexandra Court's life. I would like someone to buy me a $13 million home and then not work for a year, and then my reward for not working for a year is $100 million to continue to not work. That is your dream scenario.
Well, dude, who would not think that's great?
My guess is Mark,
honestly.
My guess is Mark Walter.
I mean,
although he's, what does he care? That dude's worth how many billions? You think 100 million? He's like, whatever. Here, just go away.
I can't find her. I want to find her.
You have to Google her name and then Guggenheim, and it'll pop up.
Oh, there she is. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. CEO looking type.
Yeah.
Former
beauty queen, now made good and climbing the corporate ladder and
not anymore.
No, she's just
laying on a beach.
Yeah, laying on a beach with $100 million. Probably laying on her own beach in her $13.5 million house. Hey, but the partners of Guggenheim want you to know this was all mischaracterized.
Prove it.
They love her and she was great, and they don't want to talk about why she doesn't work there anymore. The world of high finance, man.
Let me ask you
that's a hell of a thing.
If you and the BTJ are on vacation, and you're at a tiki, you like the outdoor bars.
I do like the outdoor bars.
It's let's say you're at like a tiki bar on a beach.
Love it.
And you waddle up with your little flip flops.
Yeah.
And you sit down, and the BTJ's like, I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And she goes to the bathroom, and you order a stupid frozen, I don't know.
How about just a Malibu and pineapple?
Okay,
keep it simple.
Malibu and pineapple, and you turn to your right, and there is Alexandra Court.
Yeah.
And she's sitting right there.
How you doing?
She's had several. She's feeling a little talkative. BTJ doesn't come back because your kids are up in the room and there's something going on, and she gets roped into that. You have 3 hours right next to Alexandra Court at Tiki Bar with Malibu and what'd you say, pineapple and rum?
Malibu and pineapple is a delightful, simple.
What is your approach?
Boy, at that point, you got to believe that she is. The only reason is she's slumming, so I think you really got to lean into the slums.
And you know who she is.
Yeah.
You know all about her story.
Yeah.
She tells you she's single.
Yeah. You just get
BTJ's in the room. You know what's in her bank.
I think at that point you just got to start like being like, are you as big a fan of poor decisions as I am? You got to lean into this is a terrible idea, and you don't make terrible mistakes. Why don't we make a terrible mistake together? You got to go for this is your one chance to just be a dirty slum. Do whatever you want.
You're saying this to her?
To her. Yeah. You got to play into I'm just a filthy human being. Let's go do filthy human being things. You're not going to class her. You're not going to seduce her. My gosh,
I'm a filthy bastard.
Yes, you have no choice but to just lean into, she's clearly slumming. That's the only reason she's there. So you can't deny the slum. You got to steer into the skid. You got to make her feel like this is the seediest, dirtiest thing that she could ever do.
I see what you mean.
Yes. This is going to be shameful, and you're going to regret it, but you're going to think back on this and be like, I'm glad I did that.
Yes, but how do you get...
Well, I can't talk about that on the air.
How do you... I mean, I see the approach, but that seems a short-sighted approach in a sense that you're never going to see her again.
No. There's no way.
Well, how are you going to get in the wallet?
You're not.
Oh, I thought for sure you would hatch a plan to get in her
wallet. She would see me coming a mile away. She's got security. I'm not allowed anywhere near that. You kidding me?
Wow. Yeah. I'm disappointed in you.
No. I got one shot, and that's just to do something. That's just a story to tell.
All right, let's get back on track here. There's another franchise for sale, and it's about to sell to another generic, I don't know, like developer.
Yeah, that's who buys these
holdings.
Things now. No one has this money individually.
So that's next on The Fan.
It's back. Northwest, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with the SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, some breaking news in the association this afternoon. The Buss family entering into an agreement to sell their majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers at a $10 billion valuation. The new owners, Mark Walter, CEO of the TWG Global Group, and he was already has holding interests in the Dodgers and Sparks, among other sports entities. The NBA Finals resume Thursday back in Indianapolis for Game 6. The Pacers needing a home win over the Thunder to force a Game 7. Tyrese Halliburton's status for the potential elimination game still up in the air as he's working through a right calf injury. On the gridiron, former Packers star corner Jair Alexander is signed with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a one-year deal worth a maximum of $6 million. On the diamond, the Mariners dropped the rubber game today in their three-game series with the Red Sox. They fall 3-1 at home. Meanwhile, in Omaha, semifinals going on both sides of the bracket today. Coastal Carolina punches their ticket to the final with an 11-3 win over Louisville this afternoon. In the late game, it's LSU taking on Arkansas. That one just about to get started. The Tigers can advance to the final with a win tonight. The Hogs would need to beat the Bayou Bengals twice to advance. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back, the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms. Tuesday, June 24th, presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com.
What's the most resilient parasite?
Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Can build cities, can transform the world, and rewrite all the rules.
That's what I'll be doing every single night.
Which is why...
No!
I have to steal it.
What are you talking about, Willis?
This is Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
It's gonna work. It's passable, okay? This isn't terrible.
The best in local, regional, and national sports. With no hidden agenda. Primetime with Isaac and Sue on 1080 The Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Nice to have you along.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
That's right, they are.
Okay, we apologize.
The Tampa Bay Rays are the other team that's about to sell.
Yes.
So we talked about the Lakers last hour. They're about to sell, and now the Rays.
Not for $10 billion.
No, they're saying $1.7 billion valuation.
Well, they don't have a stadium. Literally, the other one fell apart during a hurricane.
Yeah.
They're playing at a minor league field right now. There was a deal in place to build a new one in Tampa, St. Pete, but then the current owner said no, they're pulling out of that. So, I mean, you're getting a team with a sketchy fan base and no plans for a ballpark.
And you know what? They're pretty good this year.
Yes.
Have you noticed that?
Hey, they just got done kicking the hell out of the Mets for 3 in a row.
The Rays are actually a good little club.
Well, and for all the Rays' struggles, I mean, the Rays have been a good team.
Yeah, they have a good management team, obviously. But
it's called sports. It's called baseball in particular.
Stu Sternberg is their owner, and they say he is in advanced talks to sell the franchise to a group led by Florida-based residential developer by the name of Patrick Zalupski. He's a home builder.
Yes.
God.
Patty Z.
Should have built homes for a living.
Dude, there's some dudes that are building homes that are doing just fine.
He's from Jacksonville.
Feast or famine. I don't know anything about him. I'm assuming it's not just him. I'm assuming he's got some groups with him.
He is the lead buyer.
Yeah.
He already has executed a letter of intent to purchase the team. And Sternberg bought the Rays in 2004 for a mere $200 million.
Yes. And I guess this dude, despite having a horrid comb over, he is the CEO of Dream Finders Homes, and he is a billionaire himself.
So it was kind of weird
but he's not, like, he's only worth, I mean, this is going to sound funny, but like, he's only worth $1.4 billion. So he'll have other money with him, but you know, some of these teams now are so expensive that individuals can't buy them. There has to be groups involved.
So when Sternberg, so he owned the Rays, and he was really pissed about the stadium situation.
Yeah.
But they were winning a bunch of games, but no one was going. And so he threatened to move him to Montreal.
Yeah.
And then, because he's got a buddy in Montreal. And then they all of a sudden, after all these, sort of stories about, we'll put the ballpark here or build them a new ballpark there, they ended up, the Rays situation is so weird because they ended up agreeing on a site where the current stadium is.
Yes.
Which makes no sense because they're saying, I don't know Tampa St. Pete like you do, but it's over in the St. Pete part, and they're saying that's the problem. It needs to be over in the Tampa part where all the people are.
So there's a problem because when you have games that start when normal sports games too, traffic in that area to get over there, you can have an hour and a half commute easy. I mean, it's brutal to get over there, and so supposedly that is one of the issues that. One, it's not a great area for baseball. It's a horrible stadium with the worst aesthetics I've been to this side of the Oakland Coliseum, and then you put it in the world's worst situation. So if you've got a team that you're not really stoked about, you're playing in a concrete dome, think like the old King Dome, and someone told you that it was after work, it was going to take you an hour and 20 minutes to get there and an hour and 20 minutes to get back over the bridge, would you be real geeked to go into those games?
No, I just don't understand why they then decided to put the new one
right
there.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Nope.
So then here comes Hurricane Milton. It rips the roof off, and the owner says after that, he says, this is going to delay the start of the new ballpark because they have to refurbish the Trop.
Yep.
And so therefore I am backing out of this deal because the cost overruns are going to be too expensive. It's going to be too expensive.
Yes.
And then Major League Baseball came in and said, okay, a-hole, you're selling the team.
Yeah.
And I mean, Major League Baseball has that kind of, like, if they want an owner out, they can get an owner out. And it sounds like they have forced him to sell.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. Just the whole situation has been so strange.
So I'm assuming that when you're buying the Rays for whatever $1.7 billion, this guy in his group, he comes in, I'm assuming that you're buying that with the idea of you already have the ballpark figured out, or at least a rough idea. I doubt someone's buying this and then Major League Baseball is going to allow them to be sold to these guys with no plan for a stadium. They have to have a stadium situation agreed to when they buy this team.
Which is, I think, exactly why Major League Baseball would want him to sell, and perhaps to this group.
Yes.
So,
and he's a construction guy, he's a home builder. I mean, maybe there's a connection there that he understands this a little better. He can figure it out. I'm with you that if getting across to the peninsula, because it sits on a peninsula and there's you have to take bridges. Imagine you're you're crossing the old Willamette and everyone has to go over the 405 bridge to get to the baseball stadium during rush hour. I mean, that's what you're dealing with. So, you would think that you would be smart enough to put it elsewhere, but maybe there isn't a good option down there. Don't know.
I was looking at the Rays' history. They have actually been really good.
Yes.
If you go all the way back to when they lost in the World Series in 2008, they've been in the playoffs more often than not. And they've technically had 8. Well, okay, they haven't. They had 1 year. Last year, they went 80-82. So they were almost 500.
Almost.
If you throw that out, they have had, or if you count that, they have had a winning season in 7 of the last 8 years. That's the only time. So they had 7 straight winning seasons before that season. 1 year they won 100 games, and they went to a World Series.
Yeah.
The year before in the COVID year.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do. So
they lost to the Dodgers.
It's not a problem, and they don't have deep pockets, and they have no fan support. So it's a
good franchise.
In theory, you could have a sleeping giant there if someone were to come in, build a real ballpark that people could get to, that people were excited about, and they spend a little money on the team. And more importantly, for Portland, if the A's get settled in Vegas, which I assume is happening at some point, and the Rays sell, and this bro has hey, I'm getting a stadium, like we're back at the table where they agree to a stadium, then expansion can happen. And then at that point, we find out whether or not we lost to Salt Lake. But the sooner you get the A's and the Rays figured out, we can get Major League Baseball to move on expansion, which is your only chance here in Portland.
Yeah, somebody said the comp to Trop Field from Tampa would be if Portland Stadium was on Government Island.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a little peninsula, and the only way to get there is by bridges. And even without stadium traffic, if you've ever tried to get into St. Pete during rush hour, it is a effing nightmare. And then you throw in that stadium traffic going to there, I'm telling you, it is the worst located stadium. And by the way, mass transit just isn't a thing to get in and out of there. It's the worst possible situation. So I'm with you. When they said that they were going to build and the same spot. I just sat there and was like, what?
None of that made any sense.
Why would you do that?
What if the Major League Baseball to Portland group put a stadium on Government Island, and you had to swim to the games?
Get a little canoe.
Would you swim to the games?
No, I would not.
What if they were free?
No, I would not.
If they were
Really?
free, how many people would swim to games?
No, I'm not swimming to a game.
I mean, it's not that far over there.
Yeah, right until you get a cramp and you go down and the water's ice cold.
They'll have people out there. The Coast Guard will be out there.
No, can I get a little Daffy Duck raft that I can paddle over there? If you give me a little dinghy or something, I'm not swimming.
You get yourself to
No.
the ballpark, you get in.
Yep,
Yeah,
you
I'm
gotta
not-
swim.
I'm not swimming.
Get
No.
your little wetsuit.
No, I'm
I
not
think
doing
I
that.
would.
No, you would.
Yes.
You would not.
Oh,
Yeah.
you would not.
I'd be there every night.
You're such a lying piece of turd.
Free. God, you are a real jerk. You know that?
When's the last time you swam? Thank you.
And
Oh,
you're
that
someone
doesn't
who does not do well with inconvenience, it feels like. And just the whole idea of putting on a wetsuit, going across the river, then being wet and needing to get into
Look,
dry clothes and going to a baseball game,
bro,
I don't see that being rock
It's free. It's not, but it's free baseball. I can go to any game. I just got to swim
You'd pay
over there.
$30 to not have to do that.
Well, I would do that, but can I still go to the game?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're telling me that I don't have to swim, but it's $30 a game. That changes the whole scenario.
Well, yeah.
Of course, I'd pay the $30, but I'm saying the
If that
scenario
was your
is
only option?
yes.
Oh, okay.
The only way to get to the game is to swim. If you swim, it's free.
So you do it once every 5 years or so?
I'd go to every game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Get a little condo up on the water up there in Stumptown.
No, you wouldn't.
Or up here.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
By the way, someone said they were in Vegas just a little bit ago and they had started construction. Is that true? Or,
Yeah, they started.
So shovels in the ground.
Well, I knew they demolished the Trop, but I didn't know.
No. For
Yeah,
the
they
A's.
have started.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Okay.
I read that a while ago.
So the A's.
I don't know. There seems to be this. I don't know why people keep saying this, but there seems to be this notion that the A's were still in flux. They're not. They're moving to Las Vegas. They're building that stadium.
Everything I've read is that they were on track to put shoveling ground in June, but I have not read anything that they've actually started construction.
Yeah, I thought I read they started, but
Okay.
And I'm gonna probably be wrong. But I
Well,
would swim to the stadium
In theory,
on Government Island.
this could settle the Rays. If the A's are settled, then within a year or so, we should be able to hear yay or nay on Major League Baseball to Portland. You know, we just passed the $800 million tax package. Did you know, though, that the Salt Lake Group has already started building the entertainment district?
Yeah, I think we're screwed.
Yeah,
We're screwed.
they're going to build out their entire jump town and then just leave the ballpark at one end and just wait and basically tell Major League Baseball, you say yes, and the shovel's in the ground tomorrow.
We're ready when you're ready.
Yep. So that's going to be that's tough. That's tough to beat.
Someone asks, what if the stadium was on Government Island and the homeless operated the tire boat ferry system?
Let's go
to see the game.
Yeah, I'd do that.
You okay with that?
Yeah, dude. The homeless are, they're a resourceful group. They'll figure it out. Give them some hobo chili and some possum teeth. You get yourself over there to the game. Let's go.
Latest on the A's Park. While an official groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled for June 23rd, early site work, including foundation work, started in May.
Okay.
And the A's, so construction on the park has begun.
All right. There you go.
And the A's plan to play in Las Vegas starting in 2028.
Okay. So we're good from the A's.
Or bad, depending on how you look at it.
Well, I'm just saying that one is settled.
Yeah. And it has been. I don't know
There's always
why.
like that. I don't know.
There's always just rumors
there's
and
rumor.
people just
Like, oh,
run
could-
with it.
could
And
fall apart.
there's nothing to it. They've always been moving to Vegas. All right, coming up next, we have the latest on Halaban, the College World Series, and my Florida Panthers hoisting the Stanley Cup. On the Fan.
Check out the Fan Merch Locker.
There's a lot of people
On 1080 The Fan.
At the College World Series today, Coastal Carolina beat Louisville 11-3. So my Chanticleers are on to the final. And they will meet the winner of Arkansas LSU, just underway. Now, if Arkansas beats LSU in this game, they will have to beat them again in order to get to the final.
So that's not would that be a doubleheader, or will they play that tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
I think that would be tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't like double dips.
No.
Double headers out there.
They have them in the regionals, like in the super regionals and stuff, right? They had the doubleheaders, but not in the College World Series.
I think if they can avoid it, they like to. But we had UCLA had to play.
That was just a weather-related thing.
Twice. Was that yesterday? Day before yesterday?
Day before yesterday, I think, right?
Because of weather. Halliburton game time decision tomorrow.
Yeah, an MRI on his. He's got a sore calves, and look, TJ McConnell was really good in that game, and he played like 18 minutes. Halliburton was 0 for 6 and couldn't move after re-injuring that calf in the first quarter. I mean, I'm all for heroics and letting guys go out there and try to Willis Reed it, but at some point, Halliburton on a torn calf, and that's what he has. You know, to what degree? It's a grade 1 or a grade 2. Otherwise, he wouldn't be attempting to play in this. What good are you out there on one leg? You can't defend anyone. He has no push. He can't shoot at this. Like, I understand he wants to be the guy, but dude, if you're Indiana, it's you got to sit him down.
Well, he kind of is the guy, though.
Well,
I mean, you ain't winning without him, so you might as well run him out there.
You cut that thing to 2.
Yeah.
And then Oklahoma City went on one of their patented runs, and that was with Halliburton playing and being. You were basically playing 4-on-5.
Well, I think that you have to he has to at least try it.
Sure.
And then if it's going the same way as if it's like that 4-on-5, then you're probably better off with McConnell. But I think what you're thinking is he is your guy. He's your star. He's who got you there. He's just going to have to suck it up and let's see if he can, I just do something.
I think there's a difference between sucking it up and playing with a. How do you play basketball on a torn calf muscle? Like what?
Yeah.
It's like if you're I get it. Some sports lend themselves to tough guys. Like if you're a football player, if you're a lineman, you can do a lot of give me the needle, right? I tape the hell out of my ankle and I have to play in 4 and 5 second bursts.
Grit your way through it.
Yeah. When Emmitt Smith had the separated shoulder game against the Giants at the end of the year to get the bye, right? Like Emmitt, dude, we're going to give you the ball 22 times, and every time you're going to get hit, your shoulder's going to kill you, but you're going to get 15 to 45 seconds after each one, and I just need you to power your way through it. But like in baseball, if you're a pitcher and you get a blister on your finger, you can't throw. And you're like, oh, it's a little blister. Yeah, you can't grip a baseball. And if you're an NBA player, arguably the most athletic sport in the world, and you're being asked to defend the MVP and keep him in front of you, and you're being asked to go around the best defensive team that maybe the NBA has ever seen. Oh, and by the way, you're doing it on a torn calf. That's not a toughness thing. That's just you can't do it. You're hurting the team by being out there. And if anyone that watched the game, they were worse with Halliburton on the floor against Oklahoma City in Game 5.
That's where I think Carlisle's in just a really difficult spot.
Yeah.
Because as the coach, it is your job to make these tough decisions. At the same time, your star player wants to play. I think you honor that. I mean, it's a players' league, right?
Yeah.
Now, if he gets out there, I think if he gets out there and it looks like it did last time, which you're saying it might, which stands to reason, because it isn't just like an injury that you can take a shot for or whatever. Then I think you might see Carlisle make a move.
Yeah.
And that would be a hard one to, but that's why he gets paid.
Yeah.
But he admitted that he should have made the move back to McConnell in the last game. He admitted that. So that leads me to believe that
short leash.
Yeah. If he sees the same thing, he won't have a problem going back to McConnell.
Yeah.
And McConnell, like I don't know, man. That dude, he's played some nice basketball, but boy, he sure looks like he shouldn't be any good at all out there. It's just crazy. Whenever I watch him, I'm like, he made a nice play. I'm never expecting him to do anything because he just looks like an average Joe playing amongst
He has
all
the
these guys.
most fifth-year senior college-ass point guard game I've ever seen, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good.
Yes, it works for him. He's crafty, man.
I don't get
and
it.
that's the Peyton Pritchard thing. It's just it doesn't necessarily pass the eye test, and yet they're nice players. And I just at this point I would rather have 100% of TJ McConnell than 35% of
Yeah,
of the
but you
Halliburton.
don't. That's easy to say, but you don't make as the head coach in a league like this. That's a player-run league, and the guy that got you there, the star player. You have to coach next year too.
Yeah, you do.
So you have to be careful about this. You don't want to piss off Tyrese. So how do you handle that?
I guess maybe that's what you were saying. Is
It's a delicate thing.
You let him hang himself. I mean, I know that sounds terrible, but
Or blame it on the medical staff. Say like they won't let you go. It's not up to me.
Well, maybe you start him, and then about a minute into the game, you're like, "Hey, man, you just got blown by twice." Like
either that
Can't play
or
ya.
Carlisle is smoke screening all of this, and they're already having these discussions. Like, dude, we're gonna set you down. And they're just trying to make Oklahoma City a little, like have to prepare for two different scenarios.
And I hate when media members do this. I remember LaDainian Tomlinson that sat out the playoff game, and he was sitting on the sidelines, and he just sat there, and he just dead-eyed. It was in the playoffs. I don't think it was the conference title. I think it may have been the divisional round. And every Tom, Dick, and Harry Stephen A. Smith type was sitting there and just being like, "You have to play in this game. You just have to play. You have to find a way." What? I love the announcing tough guy. That's like, you have to find a way to, if your body won't allow you to play, it doesn't allow you to play. But we expect guys to be superhuman, and it just I struggle with the you should play, you should find a way to suck that up.
Well, I feel like the common man doesn't understand the difference between being injured and being hurt. Like you can play through being hurt, but if you have an injury, some of those prevent you from.
Well,
being able to do what
it
you
was
need
a
to do.
knee injury, right?
I think
it was a sore knee.
Yeah.
And I think I read that same injury is the injury that has kept Nick Chubb out for weeks. And yet people are like, "Oh, come on!"
Like or the Christian McCaffrey gets this too. Like, I don't know, he looked pretty good. Like, it's all fun and games until you go to plant that in the ground, and the level. You imagine the athleticism and the push. Like,
he couldn't push off was the thing.
Yeah, he couldn't push. Now take Halliburton on, and you got your sticky little NBA shoe on there, and you're on that hardwood. Can you imagine the torque that puts on your body every time you have to start and stop at an NBA level? I guess they used to say that like Jordan would blow through shoes. He would blow through a pair of shoes because of how hard he started and stopped.
Like Zion did that one time?
Yeah, like Zion did. And and then we're going to sit there and say that a guy needs to try to play through a calf. I'm all for the tough guy routine, but I hope that if he can't go in this, win or lose, I hope that some of the national media, the narrative doesn't turn into, he quit on his team, or, he should have found a way to be out there. That stuff drives me nuts.
Well, I feel like Carlisle needs to own it, though. That's what a good players coach does.
Yeah.
He'll come out and say, "Look, it was my decision."
Yeah, don't start on
Don't put it on him.
Yeah. Believe me, if there was a way he could go, and he even said it, like Halliburton said, if I can walk, I can play. Love the mentality, but that's a dumb statement.
Well, he said that again today.
Yeah, you can't walk in an NBA game.
He said today, "I'm going to do everything I can to play."
Yes.
And that's why Carlisle said, "Okay, well, game time decision. We'll get him out there and see what he can do."
Because every one of these guys, and maybe occasionally.
And that's tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Occasionally, maybe you get a guy at this level that's kind of a candy ass, but for the most part, when you get to the NBA Finals, you get to a Stanley Cup Finals, you get to a Super Bowl, dude, no one is taking the easy road out. No one is going into the playoffs of their professional sport at the highest level and have thought to themselves, "You know what? I could probably do this, but I'm a little sore. I'm going to sit this one out and just, be over here and, have a couple cold ones, and I can't risk further injury."
Well, he's got 4 game winners and like 4 or 5 20-point comebacks, but he's good. He'll just kind of shut it down
Kevin
now.
Durant knew that his Achilles was going to tear in that NBA Finals. Like, he had been dealing with that calf, and he knew what was coming.
They waited as long as he could, and he said, "I got to go out there and do this." And then
I remember Richard Sherman one year with the I don't remember if it was with the Seahawks or maybe it was with the 49ers. I thought it was the Seahawks, where someone asked Richard Sherman, he was battling a calf and Achilles thing, and Sherman goes, "Yeah, I know it's going to tear." So he's like, I I do everything I can, and I go out and play. And he's like, one of these games is just gonna blow, and when it does, oh well. But he's like, until then, I'm just gonna go out and play on it. You know, most of these guys are warriors, and it just the armchair quarterbacking of this stuff. If he can't go, I hope that none of that is part of the narrative, but something tells me that it will be, because it's what the media does.
All right, in the news is next. The animal uprising continues. We have mountain goat news.
I do like a good mountain goat.
What? Oh, I also have to tell you, we have late breaking Max Train news. Ooh. We have another dead.
Ooh.
And should we really be hiking to the top of Mount Hood? Has anybody asked this question?
I bet someone has, as they're getting ready to hike it.
I would like to ask this question. That's next. First buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on The Fan, big news in the NBA today. The Buss family entering an agreement to sell their majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers, with the franchise valued at $10 billion. The new owner is Mark Walter, CEO of TWG Global. He already has holding interests in the Dodgers and Sparks, among other sports entities. The NBA Finals resumed Thursday back in Indianapolis for Game 6. The Pacers needing a home win to force a Game 7 against the Thunder in OKC. Tyrese Halliburton's status for the elimination game still up in the air as he's working through that calf injury. On the gridiron, former Packers star corner Jair Alexander has signed a deal with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a one-year deal worth a maximum of $6 million. On the diamond, the Mariners fell today 3-1 to the Boston Red Sox. They dropped 2 out of 3 in that series. Meanwhile, in Omaha, semifinals going on today on both sides of the bracket. Coastal Carolina punches their ticket to the final with an 11-3 win over Louisville this afternoon. Right now, Arkansas and LSU are doing battle. It is scoreless in the top of the second. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
This is your home for year-round NFL coverage. The Odyssey app and Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Well, we're about to talk about a story on In the News about a cyclist being hit by the Max train.
That's no good.
Yeah, and they died. This is bad. I would have to assume that there have been enough lawsuits regarding the Max train.
Yes.
That there are enough warnings that there's no sue potential there.
You would hope.
But the other story we're going to talk about is the guy who plummeted 800 feet or something up on Mount Hood.
Wait, can I?
And now he's hurt.
Can I sue Mount Hood?
I don't think you can sue Mount Hood, but if you could,
yeah,
there are two people that would take that case for you, and that is Ken and Donnie of the Advocates.
Look, I don't know what the street value of Mount Hood is, but I think Mount Hood's got some deep pockets, and quite frankly, I'd like to take down that mountain a peg or two.
So does Oregon own Mount Hood?
Boy.
Like, is that a...
See, here's the thing. We've got questions, and we don't have answers. You know who has answers?
Ken and Donnie.
That's what you do.
Yep.
This is why. If a mountain has injured you, or a Max train, or any other entity, and you've thought to yourself, I've got questions, they have answers. And by the way, they're free to have those questions answered for you. It
says here Mount Hood is owned by a combination of entities.
So maybe, you know.
So forest management.
All right, forest management.
You can go after the U.S. government.
Ah, there you go.
U.S. Forest Service.
I've been waiting to get some of my tax dollars back.
Sue their ass.
There you go.
Ken and Donnie will licking their chops on that case. Yes, consultations are free. They don't get paid until you win. So if you've been injured, no matter how minor, you need more than a lawyer. You deserve an advocate. Go to their website, advocateslaw.com.
Summer is here. Time
Welcome back. It is an Eminence Front.
What?
Well, that's the name of the song.
Oh.
Eminence Front.
Didn't know that.
But I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means, Buck?
No, I only know that it's the name of the song.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing it stems from the word something being eminent. Eminent. I don't know.
Eminence is fame or recognized superiority.
So fronting like you have eminence?
I can't say I knew that either.
I don't know.
It is also a piece of rising ground.
Ooh.
The plot thickens.
Well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's The Who. We love The Who here.
Yeah, The Who is greatness.
It is June 18, 2025. It is time for In the News. I'm your noted newsman. Hello, thank you. Thank you. It is brought to you today by the Advocates Injury Attorneys at advocateslaw.com.
I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again.
It's a good question.
An eminence front is the act of presenting a false or superior facade to the world.
Okay. There you go. It is International Sushi Day.
Oh, who doesn't love a fine piece of sushi?
It is also Go Fishing Day.
Well, that goes hand in hand. You can go fishing, catch fish, have sushi.
Make your own sushi.
Yeah. One of the best sushi experiences I've ever had. We were in Costa Rica and went out on a little fishing to-do thing. Caught a nice...
You mean you went fishing?
We had a fishing thing. Well, it was like we snorkeled, we fished, we cruised the bay. It's kind of an all-in-one sort of thing.
Okay.
And we caught a nice yellow-tailed tuna, and the guy brought it up and was like, "Do you guys want sushi?" And we were like, "Yeah." Pulled over to a bigger boat, went over there, got some Tabasco and some lemons, cut open the tuna right there, started cutting off pieces of it, and then putting it in a nice little mixture of Tabasco and lemon, and we had, literally ate it 25 minutes after catching it. It was freaking amazing. And then got drunk on the boat. Amazing experience.
So,
and that was going fishing and having sushi all in one.
Got some death news here.
Yeah, it's not good.
Emergency crews have responded to a scene where a bicyclist was struck and killed by the MAX train today.
Yeah.
This was in southeast Portland, near Division and 8th.
Yeah.
Just to the southeast of Tillicum Crossing.
Yeah, that's no good. So do we know, was there any sort... I didn't see any details on it.
Well...
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you want details.
No? I mean, was it a... Okay. Well, I was like...
Was it what?
Well, a lot of times when these train strikes happen, a lot of times it's homeless people or maybe people...
It was a cyclist.
Well, there's the difference between someone on a bike and someone that's a cyclist.
Yeah, well, they said cyclist.
Okay. It's no good.
Wait. Now it just says person on a bicycle.
So that's why I'm wondering.
They use both.
Said it happened around 1:30.
Yeah. A person on a bicycle entered the crossing and was fatally struck. This is a tragic incident and a very difficult situation for everyone. Our thoughts are with the cyclist, our operator, and those who witnessed the incident.
They did say the only piece of information that I saw in the story was that the barriers were down.
Yeah.
And he went...
Or she.
They went in the barriers, which,
yeah.
I'm often amazed by that.
What are you going to do?
Unless it was one of those where they saw the train coming and was like, hey, I don't want to wait for the train, so I'll see if I can beat it across.
Those trains don't go very fast, though. The MAX trains,
They go fast enough to kill you.
Well, I would imagine. In other words, if you see the train, I don't think you get struck by the train.
Yeah.
He just didn't see it. Or he...
How do you not? I don't know.
Well, again, this happens all the time. You ask this question every time this happens.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Trains, eerily silent, too, as we've
You know what's not silent,
over
though?
the years.
The big... the
I know.
things coming down.
I know. Have you noticed... I've noticed this recently. I wonder if you guys have. Have you noticed more joggers that are absolutely not stopping no matter what, and they aren't even looking?
Yeah, they don't care.
Have you noticed that?
Absolutely.
I think that's wild.
Because we get, as I come down front here, I come down that way sometimes.
A lot of joggers down here.
Yeah, instead of over the 405. So if I come down front, we cross probably, you had about 8 different intersections before you turn to to come into our building. The amount of times that runners before or after work run across front
without looking,
with no thought, headphones on.
Yep.
Don't make eye contact.
They're
with
expecting you to stop.
It is alarming.
It's crazy.
Yes.
I've seen it 3 times in the last couple of weeks.
Yep, see it all the time.
And boy,
it's insane.
I get it that they have the right of way.
Sure.
But what balls you have to trust that everyone is just going to see you?
I feel this way because I ride my bike a bunch, and I feel this way about cyclists. I don't care who has the right of way. I don't care what that cyclist or whoever is on the bike thinks they're entitled to. If there is an accident and you're on a bike, you will lose. I've never understood the cavalier approach by drivers or cyclists that they just, that is not something that everyone, like any intersection I come to on a bike, I assume that no one's going to stop.
I think
it is my responsibility to make sure that I am safe as I'm crossing. I never looked at something and be like, well, they'll stop.
I think that somebody could text into the text line and answer this, because I know some of you are runners or cyclists out there. I would imagine that for the runner, because this happened to me multiple times recently, and this is a new phenomenon to me. I'm like, wow, they're really getting really cocky out there.
Yeah.
I could never physically do. I'm too risk averse to even think of doing that. Right?
Sure.
I just can't. I am going to look and make sure that the car is stopping, because I don't want to. This is how you get hit.
Yeah.
When you don't look.
Yes.
I just would think. Now there's my dementia again. I lost my train of thought.
Are you all right?
Well, I probably have dementia.
It's possible. I was wondering where I was like, all right, we're going with this. You're risk averse, and then
what was I saying?
Well, you were talking about being risk averse, and you could never think about
what
it.
I think they're thinking is, as runners, particularly when you run in the city, you don't want to be starting and stopping.
Sure.
And I think because the laws favor you, a lot of them. I just feel like their mentality is, I'm not going to stop. I can't stop and look at every intersection, so I'm just going to go.
And the cars will stop because they have to. Otherwise, they'll hit me, kill me, owe me money, whatever.
That's what I think they're thinking, which I think is dumb, because you'll get drunk guy, or you'll get not paying attention guy.
Texting guy.
Texting guy.
But you can say the law protects you, but it doesn't protect you from the bumper of a Silverado.
Nope.
But I think but to try to explain what they're thinking, that might be it. Because when you're running in the city, you go 5 blocks, you don't want to 4 stops.
Sure. And it's probably worse on a bicycle.
And then I think what they also, yes, it probably is worse on a bicycle. What I think they think too is that if I stop and look at the car, then then the car is going to go.
You have to do the when you stop and then keep jogging in place. You got to do that number.
Right.
When the person stops, they're like, oh, don't mind me.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that, like sometimes on the bike, you'll do that. You slow to a creep, and you do, especially if you have clip-in pedals, you don't want to take your foot out, so you slow to the wobble. Like you're like, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop.
Try to avoid creeping past the line, and you're like,
hey, does everybody see me? But you gotta have some balls to go plowing across intersections and say that the car is gonna stop.
Couple texts. One says, I do my share of cycling, but my wife works on the ER department. She always tells me what you just said: bicycle versus automobile always wins.
Yeah.
Another one says, I'm a runner and I'm good at making it look like I can't or won't stop, but I'm actually able to stop if necessary. Ooh, that's interesting.
You're bluffing.
So it's a bit.
Yeah. It's like,
hey, they're not looking, I better let them go. That's it. I hadn't thought of that scenario.
I have concepts of a plan.
I just put it on both sides because, like I said, as a cyclist or a runner, I believe it is on you to make sure that you are safe. But to everyone out there that's in a car, realize that if you have risky behavior or you decide to go blowing by me because you're tired of waiting for me or you don't think you should have to wait, realize that if you clip me, I die. Like, is it really worth it? It's like the Johnny Hockey guy. That dude was like, well, I'm tired of these bicyclists and I want to go around them. Cool, man. And you want to scare someone and like honk your horn at them and blow by them and roll coal at them. That's a sweet ass plan right until you miscalculate and you clip them and they die. It's life and death. And I think both sides are way too freaking cavalier about that.
May I also call out another person that should be publicly shamed?
Please.
This is what we do. This is called courage, radio courage, okay?
Yes.
And this is a texter that brought this up. I like those guys that don't look before they cross and then also try to win the contest of slowest walker ever. Yes. Yeah. You're the worst.
It's a lot of...
Put some pep in your step.
Well, we need to go on. This is why it's a problem. Is we can't do anything as a society where we come together and do mutually good things.
When you can see the indifference in their gait, though, that's just
it's really maddening.
You gotta do the fake jog,
and they know. They know what they're doing.
They want you to know that they don't care.
That's right. That pisses me off. But they're also right that no one's probably going to run them over.
No,
until they do. Coming up next, we're not going to get to animal uprising news. We got to talk about Mount Hood. Should we really be allowed to climb to the top of Mount Hood? I'd like to ask that question when we return on The Fan.
The home of Dirt and Spread.
A hiker.
Well, they're hiking too. Yeah. I mean, can you hike the mountain or do you climb the mountain? I feel like you could hike the mountain.
Are you a climber if there's no trail? Is that what that means?
I think so. Well, a climbing, yeah, you're not on a trail. You're actually
You're
going
climbing.
to. You're going to have to.
You're ascending.
At some point, you're going to have to ascend with your hands. Whereas a hiker, there's a nice trail.
There's a trail.
And you just walk.
Okay. So this was a climber, and they tumbled near the summit of Mount Hood, and it led to an 8-hour rescue. This dude, 43-year-old guy, extremely steep section, 500 feet from the summit, and he fell.
You were right there.
Yeah, around 7:15 a.m. today.
That's no good.
No, it isn't. I just wonder.
And by the way, it doesn't sound like you can hike to the top. It says that you are going to need to navigate steep slopes, ice, potentially snow bridges, and does require technical climbing skills.
Looks like the main difference between hiking and climbing, using your hands.
Yeah.
Climbing, you have to use the. I
Rappel.
mean, you can hike with just your two legs and feet, but
it does not say. It feels like, according to this, you are going to have to climb Mount Hood.
Why do we allow this? Can I ask this question? I'd like to ask this question live on the radio.
People like to.
I understand.
Scamper up.
I understand, but can I offer a solution to all of this?
Yes.
And there are a lot of mountains out there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want.
Sure.
I'm not here to stand in the way of your climbing boner. Okay?
Well, I'm glad that you are not trying to flaccid someone's climbing boner.
What I'm saying
Then the
is,
bonus rewards program kicks in.
if you go up there and you get into trouble,
Yeah.
you're on your own, dude.
Yeah,
We pay so much money to go rescue these people. I'm not really sure why we allow people to just traverse to the top of mountains with no consequence.
I've heard there are people out there that think that if you get in trouble, you should be responsible for the bill of your rescue.
There you go.
And that bill is going to be it's going to be steep.
We talk about Doge.
Yeah.
Here's one. Let's just cut all of the rescue bills out.
I love the
We're not coming to your aid.
I love the idea of this. Like we hover over you and then we send down like a checklist, like a bill, and we're like, all right, you want to sign this? We'll come get you. If not, good luck getting out of there on your own.
There you go.
I'm really rich.
I think that would be considered cruel and unusual by some people.
Or just make it illegal.
Well,
And if you're off trail.
yeah, I mean,
it's kind of weird that we just let people, like, there's a lot of things that we govern.
sure. We
You
govern
know.
everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is it that the top of mountains, no matter how dangerous, we don't govern them?
I know, like with Everest and K2 and some of like the ones like the big Andes ones, you do need government permission. You do need permits.
Because they only let so many people.
Yeah,
up
you
a day
can't
or
just
something.
go willy nilly. But as
But
far
no,
as
see, they're making money off.
They're
of that.
making money.
Because people travel from all over to come do that.
as far as I know, I don't think you need any sort of permission to climb Mount Hood.
What I hear you saying is that we need another government entity to regulate that.
There you go. We need a government entity to regulate the regulation of the mountain.
Yeah, so let's say you're getting ready to climb Mount Hood. And we're like, okay, go ahead. We need a $17,000 deposit.
A
retainer.
I like it.
And if you don't need that for our rescue, we'll give it back to you.
Well, we rent a boat a couple times a year from one of these places right down by OMSI. Little pontoon boat. We go out on the water, have a good time, have some drinks, jump in the water, get a cola. It's great. But yes, you do have to have a credit card, and I believe it is an $800 hold that they put on your credit card because a lot of people, damage propellers and pontoons.
Yeah, it happens in Mount Shasta over Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah,
too.
so I like what you're doing. You want to climb the mountain. We're going to need a credit card. I'm doing El Swipo right there. It's going to be a significant hold on there. And just so you know, I think the problem with that is then people, I think it's the idea that people wouldn't ask for help and maybe more people would die. Like, hey, I'm in some trouble, but I can't pay for this rescue.
Or you also chose to climb the mountain.
Or they would say that, yeah, I'll go ahead and pay it because I won't need that, and then they'll need it, and they won't be able to pay it.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think it's weird.
I saw this. It said the first 5,000 feet of elevation gain are non-technical. The last 400 of the south side route is basically an easy ice climb. You know what? No.
No such thing.
There's no
Oxymoron.
easy ice climb. What? No problem. Just get an ice pick there and just climb up that ice sheet. No problem there. I would like to believe that only people that know what they're doing attempt to climb Mount Hood and that morons wouldn't, but,
Yeah, that's probably true. I'm guessing most of the people up there are experienced.
I would hope, right? I hope it's not some dude that just likes, cosplaying in REI gear that's like, hey, I'm going to go climb this mountain. Like Buck did his little triathlon there. That's one thing. I hope Buck doesn't get a wild hair. He's like, you know what, boys? I'm going to start scaling mountains. You have any training? Nope. Gonna do it anyways.
I will not be doing that.
What if they said you can climb all you want, but there's a sniper up there?
Sniper.
And
he's gonna take you out?
He could.
Why would a sniper shoot you on the way up the mountain?
Well, that's a way to kind of thin the herd, You gotta. We don't want everybody just climbing willy-nilly. It's like your risk is sniper.
It would significantly diminish the demand to climb that mountain.
Exactly.
There is, when we were in St. Lucia, there's two big peaks that are like famous on the island. It's like all the photos of St. Lucia have the two mountain peaks. And one of them it was called Mount Jimmy. And I guess if you want to attempt Mount Jimmy, you do have to sign it's your ass waiver. And so I guess Mount Jimmy is it's brutal, and there's a bunch of poisonous snakes, and like they tell you not to do it. And I guess like guides, like we were talking to the guy and there's like no guide services there to take you up. But he said occasionally people do want to climb Mount Jimmy, but there is like there's a little like hut down at the bottom, like a little government thing. And you do have to sign I know what I'm doing. I've been explained the risks and good luck before you climb up it. So at least one island nation is kind of doing what you said.
Yeah.
They will let you, but they are not promising.
Right.
They're not promising help. I think the idea is that most of the people, like if you go up there and get bit by one of those snakes, there's no way to go and get you in time. So they're not going to make the attempt. It's like, good luck.
Meanwhile, we go to Safeway and the razors are locked behind a cabinet.
Yeah. Hey, those razors, man. Those are expensive. You can't have people stealing that stuff.
All right.
Some of those places have everything behind the glass now.
I know. Not Bi-Mart.
No. Bi-Mart's a place of the people.
Well, it is. You got to have a membership to get in.
Exactly.
So they ain't just letting anybody in there.
No. $5, baby.
That is in the news, June 18, 2025, brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com. What exactly is Texas State? Next on The Fan.
You come for the action.
Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brian Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on The Fan in the association this afternoon. It's been announced that the Buss family is entering an agreement to sell their majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers at a $10 billion valuation. The new owner is Mark Walter. He already has holding interests in the Dodgers and Sparks, among other sports franchises. The NBA Finals resumed Thursday back in Indianapolis with Game 6. The Pacers need a home win over the Thunder to force a Game 7. Tyrese Halliburton's status for the potential elimination game still up in the air as he works through a right calf injury. Meanwhile, in the NFL, former Packers star corner Jair Alexander is signed with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a one-year deal worth $6 million. On the diamond, the Mariners dropped the rubber game of a three-game set with the Red Sox today. They fall 3-1 at T-Mobile in the matinee. Meanwhile, in Omaha, semifinals going on today in both sides of the bracket. Coastal Carolina has already punched their ticket to the final with an 11-3 win over Louisville. Right now, it's LSU and Arkansas doing battle. Scoreless in the bottom of the third. LSU can advance to the final with a win, while Arkansas needs 2 wins to advance. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Good afternoon. At the tone, Pacific Daylight Time will be...
It's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock.
One step closer to my own personal hell.
This is Primetime on Sports Radio 1080 The Fan.
We expect the best. We're not afraid to break someone. Do you hear me?
Primetime is your source for the best in local, regional, and national sports.
Go ahead and clap. Mediocrity deserves applause.
Isaac Robb.
I'm miserable. I had to get up at 10 o'clock this morning.
Jason Sakanet.
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Primetime on 1080 The Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Wednesday. It's your Sports Bros, Rob and Souk. I'm Rob. And Big Souk's right over there.
Right here.
Oh, dude.
Look at him. Coming up, the Karen Reed verdict is in.
Yeah.
We will talk about that. I also have a snake issue at the house I'd like to talk to you about.
Oh, boy. You don't handle snakes well.
No, I don't. And let me tell you something. My wife and I are locked in a battle.
Uh-oh. Does she want you to handle the snake crisis?
No, it's not a crisis to her.
Oh.
And it is to me.
Wow.
She doesn't care. She thinks they're great.
What? You're married to Snake Gal?
She doesn't mind them.
Wow. I can't believe you two are compatible. I don't think I could be with Snake Girl. Find it very unwholesome.
She thinks,
and
okay,
unsettling.
let's just, well,
Yeah,
no,
we'll wait till the
no,
end.
we'll
Yeah,
wait.
we'll wait.
We'll wait. I was
We'll
going to say, I just think she's wrong about it, but we'll see. I may be letting my hatred of snakes
Put a pause.
and my fear of snakes
Put a pause.
get the best of me here. She may
Understand.
be right. So we'll bring that up in the club tonight. Coming up next, the fight has begun over the NCAA calendar.
Fight.
And it is a fight. As a matter of
Yes.
fact, the Big Ten and the SEC are fighting now.
Yeah. And we may just end up with the college football playoff just like reverting back to the old way because they can't come to an agreement. I think they have till December.
But first, and we talked about if you're just tuning in and you're wanting us to talk about the Lakers sale, potential Lakers sale.
Well, it's not potential. I mean, it is happening. There's an agreement.
We did that in the first hour,
Yeah.
so bite me.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm supposed to tell you you can go podcast.
Well, yeah, you can check it out on our
Yeah.
YouTube channel
Yeah,
or
yeah.
wherever you download your podcast.
Yeah.
So the really rich guy that owns the
Yeah.
Dodgers and owns 25% of the Lakers
Very
has
successful,
decided to
very
own the rest
rich.
of the Lakers. And the Lakers apparently are now worth $10.1 billion.
The Pac-12, according to Pete Thamel, or is it Tamil? I think it's Thamel.
I think
I
it's
believe it's
Thamel.
Thamel.
The Pac-12 is expected to add Texas State
Yes.
as its final, well, as its 8th member,
Yes.
because they need one more to get to 8 to get to all the cool stuff.
You,
And then-
you can't be considered for the group of 5.
Yes.
You're not a real conference without 8 teams.
And then he mentions that the next team up could be Memphis.
Yes. Because Sacramento State is the one that's been screaming from the mountaintops, but apparently no one wants Sacramento State. So then they circled back to the other teams that originally told them no. This was like the UNLVs of the world, Texas State, Memphis, Tulane. Although there was some talk that Tulane and Memphis would not be willing to do the extra travel for the non-money revenue generating sports because the Pac-12 deal, which supposedly is done, but we haven't heard any details on that. It's supposed to be somewhere in the $9 to $12 million range, which is not going to be a ton, especially when you consider the additional costs of all the non-revenue generating sports for Tulane to travel from New Orleans out to the West Coast. So here comes Texas State.
Which, I mean, I guess I get. You're going. You don't have any options really,
No.
and you're going into Texas, so that's good.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that they're a university that is investing and wants to win. I mean, they're relatively new. They're the one that, because I was asking, what the hell even is Texas State? I guess that's the one that Dennis Franchione took over Or Dennis Franchione was the first coach at Texas State. Did you know that?
Yes, he was the one that helped them transition to, I want to say it was like in 2015, 2013,
Yeah,
something like that.
wasn't long ago.
No. And they moved up to the FBS level. They were really good.
2012.
2012. Yeah, they were good in the 1AA era back in the day, and then they wanted to bump up. They're basically a few years ahead of what Sac State is trying to do. Invest in their stadium, kind of move up. They're trying to pull a Jeffersons and move up to the big time. And in a short period of time, they have become a very attractive team to other conferences. One, it's in Texas. It's a big market. And like you said,
where is it?
It's a school that wants to that wants to
Are you Googling?
It's San Marcos.
Where's that? Texas is a big state.
Texas is a big state. It's San Marcos, and San Marcos is, let me pull up the map here.
Looks like it's between Austin and San Antonio.
Okay.
That's correct. It
Yes.
is. It's basically almost directly south of
Yeah,
Austin.
it looks like it splits right in the middle of them. Like if you're driving from San Antonio to Austin, you have to go through San Marcos, right off the freeway.
Hey, this is really bad of me to say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one's south
San Antonio is south
of Austin.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I maybe knew that, but not really.
Well, now you do.
Yeah. So it's in between those two?
Yes, like directly
So
smack
not a
dab
bad-
in the two.
So you're basically buying low.
Yes.
You know?
Well, and everyone wants a footprint in Texas. Everyone wants it for recruiting. It's easy to get to. Like the hotbed of football. Everyone wants to be involved in Texas. Texas, Florida, and California are that's Boardwalk and Park Place. And I don't know, it's not Baltic, what's ever a good monopoly property. So for the Pac-12 to get into Texas, this is a good thing.
After Boardwalk and Park Place, what is the best property?
It's the greens or the yellows.
So the green ones.
Pennsylvania,
like Marvin Gardens is the yellow ones.
That's yellow.
Yeah, it's the yellow in the.
What are the other green ones?
I'm trying to remember because the yellow ones stand out. You have like Marvin Gardens and Ventnor Avenue, but I can't remember the green ones.
Pennsylvania.
Is it funny that we all knew the Pennsylvania was the green? North Carolina, Pacific, and Pennsylvania Avenue.
Pacific
Avenue.
Pacific Avenue.
All right.
So, and they were saying that, for this deal here for the Pac-12, like whatever, none of they already agreed to the TV deal.
Yeah, they just need a warm body.
They just need a warm body. But this will be for a 5-6 year rights deal. And then you move down the road, let's say 2030, 2031, the next right deal, or maybe a chance in an ever-changing landscape. Like you said, buying low. Texas State has the opportunity to maybe grow into something that can help you further down the line. And I think some of those other options, they feel like that is going to be a placeholder and will always be a placeholder. So I think that would... that works.
They have over 40,000 students.
Yeah, it's a big university.
It's huge.
Yes. And 7 of the 9 FBS conferences feature at least one team in Texas. 3 of the Power 4 leagues have one in Texas. I mean, like I said, everyone wants to be in Texas. In fact, the only exceptions are the Big Ten.
I just assumed it was a really small school. It's not.
No.
It's enormous.
Yeah, it's a big school. So this is why... Again, this is the idea of buying low, that it's a big university that has recently decided that they want to be relevant. And so maybe Texas State could eventually grow into another kind of pillar in a major state midway point across the country and could be something that maybe 5 or 6 down the road pays big dividends for you.
What if they start just dominating the Pac-12?
It's possible. I mean, why not? Everyone has tried to... all of those smaller places want Texas State to be a part of them. So the fact that you're circling back and that it sounds like Texas State is going to be the team, I think that is that's a good deal. And by the way, Texas State doesn't have to rush. They know the longer they hold out.
Texas State?
Texas State. Like everyone wants Texas State, and Texas State is willing to commit the money to it. Again, being in one of these, being in the Pac-12 or being in the Mountain West and getting a $10 million influx of cash, Texas State is playing the long game at this point. So they have been pretty patient in all this, even though all those other smaller conferences want them. They know that they are they are the hot girl at the party. and everyone wants them. So they can play a strong hand.
So the Pac-12, beginning not this season, but next season, the season after next, the season after this one,
yes,
will be Oregon State, Washington State, Texas State, Utah State, Fresno State, Boise State, San Diego State,
and now Texas.
I already said Texas State. And San Jose State?
No, San Jose State is not in there.
Who's the last one? Who am I missing?
They're all states. Gonzaga, but that's basketball only.
I missed one.
Yeah, you missed one. I don't know who you missed. So you have
Colorado State.
Colorado State.
There it is.
Yeah, Boise, Fresno, Colorado, Utah, San Diego. States. And then maybe add now Texas State into the mix. They also said that Texas State is part of the one of the four major groupings of Texas, so they are lumped together with Texas A&M and Texas Tech. And so again, think about the resources that those schools are dumping in, and Texas State is trying to, become one of those schools. So if I told you that you could get in on the ground floor of a Texas Tech, Texas A&M sort of.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we've been talking about who the Pac-12 was going to add for a long time.
Yeah.
And Texas State was really not ever mentioned like this.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're like a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Like, where was that before? Why did no one see that before?
Well, I think it's the idea that when you're on the come up, it takes a while for people to notice you. And now all of a sudden, the last couple of years they put together good football teams, and Sacramento State, if you didn't have a footprint in California, I think Sacramento State would have this sort of allure, but you're already in California, and again, they're not affiliated with some of the universities that Texas State is affiliated with. So I think that one makes a little more sense as you try to broaden your footprint.
Do you think they get Memphis after Texas State? Get to 9?
I don't. Again, if you're Memphis and Tulane, what's the the money isn't, unless the prestige of the Pac-12, and I don't know what that prestige is going to be, your TV deal isn't much better than what those other schools are rolling out there. And look, maybe the Pac-12 wows us with a $16 or $17 million, per school, but everyone keeps sniffing around the $10 to $12 million range. Is that enough for Tulane or Memphis think about all the flights from Memphis to the West Coast. And I'm not talking about football. Dude, you're talking about all the other sports. I just don't see how that, I get it. If you're Cal and Stanford, you don't have other options in the ACC, but for the Pac-12, for a group of 5 or now group of 6, why? Why would you do that if you're Memphis?
So they're
or Tulane?
in Conference USA? Is that right?
Yeah, I'll see what their TV payout is.
I would say the only why would be it's going to be the best of the rest league.
Yeah.
I mean that would be a step up.
Yeah.
It's a better league than Conference USA.
They're not in Conference USA. They're in.
What are they in?
They're in the American.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is it a better league than the American?
I would think. But I mean, Oregon State and Boise State.
So that's Navy, Charlotte, Temple, East Carolina, Florida Atlantic, Tulane.
Yeah.
Memphis.
Yeah,
dude,
it's better.
To me, you think that's better than the Pac-12?
No, the Pac-12 is better.
Yeah, so that would be why they would move. It's just, again, they're playing the longer game. We think this is a better league, so we'll get more money eventually.
Yeah. By the way, you're looking at a $10 million payout in the American Athletic Conference. So
yeah, so about the same. See, I would jump if I'm Memphis, but you're right. The cost of travel and all that is.
And if you're Memphis, and you are playing in a tougher conference, does that?
Yeah, but you can still dominate that conference. It's not that much tougher.
Oh, I think it's a lot easier to win and have an 11-win season coming out of the American Conference than it is to play in the Pac-12.
It is, but you've got a good program. You can dominate the Pac-12 too. That thing, it's not like. I mean, one thing that I think is cool about the Pac-12, the new Pac-12, is I guess you could call Boise maybe the king of it, or Oregon State, Washington State. They've just been on a different level for the last handful of years.
Yep.
I'm just saying, I think that it's kind of wide open. It's
sure.
Depending on if Memphis jumps over there, I could totally see whoever really dumps in the resources over the next 10 years could really do a lot for themselves in that league, because there really isn't. It's not like you have to slay Goliath.
No.
There is no Goliath. Any of them could be the Goliath.
But do any of those schools have the resources to go in this new world of revenue sharing and NIL and everything else?
Well, it sounds like Memphis does care about football. They have an excellent program.
Yes, they do.
I mean, they are dumping money into it. Sounds like Texas State is doing the same thing. We know Boise State cares. So, yeah, I mean, there are programs that are...
And Boise State has talked about... Sounds like Boise State's going to enter into the private equity world. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah. Boise State said that they anticipate private equity funding.
A bunch of programs are. UCLA is one that's doing it, I think.
Yeah. So there are...
Well, don't you think every program will?
I don't think schools that don't have to, but I think for the schools that can't financially compete, like Boise State, I think they're going to have to. But when's the last time a private equity firm took over something?
Because it means ceding control, and that's a scary thing.
And tell me when that has been good for the way something is run. Good luck. But yeah, it does sound like Boise State is going to be doing that.
If you want more money.
Yeah, you want more money. So
that's how you get it.
And then, are there going to be schools that are going to do the reverse? So like Gonzaga is joining as a basketball only member. There's some talk that maybe some schools will join, like for basketball, we'll try to join like a Big East, which would be a power conference, and then play somewhere else for football. So could you have something like that where a Memphis or a Tulane has a football team that plays in a bigger conference and then travel for that? Like football travel isn't that big of a deal. Right? You have to play 7 games where you have to travel, and it's once a week, and it's not that big a deal, right? Adding a couple extra miles to it. But when you start talking about the other sports, but is it possible we start seeing a world where football becomes its own entity, where you get a Memphis or a Tulane that play somewhere in a bigger conference just in football, and all the other sports stick around and do something else?
Yeah, will be interesting. Sounds like Texas State and maybe Memphis, the targets for the new Pac-12.
Yeah, for someone saying the winner of the Pac-12 should go to the playoff most years, that's not true. Because if the Pac-12 conference champ has 2 or 3 losses and the American Conference and the Mountain West champion has 1 loss, you ain't going. Dave Bartu talks about this all the time. Your strength of schedule doesn't mean squat. If you had a Oregon State or a Boise State champion that was 10-2, and a Mountain West champion that was 11-1. Your strength of schedule, unless your wins are over the Oregon Ducks or over a massive team, if your 2 losses are to a team in your conference and then one of the big boys, and a Mountain West or an American Conference team, their only loss is to a big boy and they run their conference, they're going, not you. So I don't think necessarily that you need to get into this. We have the best conference of the group of 5, therefore we should go. No one's going to view the Pac-12 schedule any different than any of the other group of 5s. It's going to be at the end of the year who is ranked higher, and that is going to be based on how many wins you have.
The fight has begun over the new NCAA calendar, and yes, the SEC and the Big Ten, they do not agree. We'll get to that next on The Fan.
It's back. Your local Toyota dealers FM.
Coming up, Shedeur Sanders being a dumb butt. But first, the Big Ten and the SEC are fighting.
Yeah.
And
Mommy and Daddy are having an argument?
Yeah. Well, this is one that I think most people think they're aligned because they're the two big boys,
Yes.
But on this, they're not. So right now, what is happening in the world is college administrators are meeting as part of a new committee, because you always have to have a committee, to determine the new college sports calendar.
Yes.
Now, this is tripping the two big conferences up because the SEC, particularly its coaches, they want a 10-day transfer portal in early January. And they want it then because they want to secure next year's team early and be able to start coaching them up.
Yes.
Or roiding them up. Whatever it is that they do to their thoroughbreds.
Whatever they do to prepare.
Now, Big Ten coaches and particularly administrators, they want the transfer portal to be in April because they want it to align with the school calendar.
Which would make sense because people kind of forget it is
school.
School.
Right. Now, the school calendar ends in May. Now, remember, the key here is that the Big Ten schools are on a quarter system, and so that's why it better aligns with their calendar. They also want it to align with the new revenue sharing cap year, which basically ends June 31 and starts for the new year, July 1. So what they're saying is we want the transfer portal to be more towards April, May, so then we know who's on campus so we can budget like for the next year.
Sure.
So they're fighting over this.
Well, and they're still fighting over that, and they're fighting over the playoff expansion as well.
Well, they are, but for the calendar year thing, that's a whole separate discussion.
Yeah.
But for the calendar year thing, what the SEC coaches are saying is that when kids commit in terms of how they basically however they set up the calendar for under this new model.
Yeah.
There's no easy answer to it. We've talked to Dan Lanning about this, and he's like, dude, that is a complicated one for this very reason. SEC coaches are saying when kids commit from December to March, a third of them are going to be gone by April because other schools are tampering or they get other offers. And so they're saying lock them down in January because if you do that, then I know I've got them. But if you wait all the way until April, you're going to be going all the way through spring and you don't even really know what your roster is going to be come fall.
Yeah.
And that's a fair point.
Absolutely it is.
But the counter to that is pushing spring practice. If you push, the Big Ten is saying, well, let's just push spring practice and do more of an OTA style thing like the NFL does, and we'll do it in May or even June. We're all on the same schedule.
Yeah.
And so the SEC coaches, I mean, I don't know who's going to win this battle, but that could be the new way it's going to go.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot to figure out and we don't even know if the House settlement, by the way, like I understand that was agreed upon. There's still legal challenges to it. Remember we had the kid from Wisconsin that basically just said, I don't care about your transfer portal. I'm going to do it anyways. So, and we're not sure exactly how the enforcement arm of all this is going to work. And it's going to be a bumpy road for the next couple of years, but you're right in that eventually we would hope that college football comes out with some new guidelines that make common sense and are best practices. But one of the problems that we've always had in college football is how the hell do you get everyone to agree upon it?
Exactly.
You can't even get people in the SEC or the Big Ten to agree on something, let alone the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC and everyone else.
Right.
It's a dilly of a pickle.
I agree with the Big Ten here, though.
Yes.
I feel like it's better because you could have signing day August. You could have that in August or September because they need to know because they have to budget.
Yeah, but you can't have that because kids would still be you can't have people signing at the start of their senior year. That's going to eliminate a lot of kids from, that.
No, but that's what they want because and the reason the Big Ten wants that is because they have to budget for that. They do budgets way in advance.
But if you were to do that and you would have a signing day in August or September, you're basically saying that all these kids that are going into their senior year already have to know where they're going to be going.
Yes.
And it's going to eliminate a huge number of kids that need to have a good senior year in order to go where they want to go. So I think that kind of jobs over high school kids, which is, again, you've got a million different entities here. There's not going to be something that works for everyone, which is why you just need to come up with best practices that work for most people. But the current signing period in transfer window is absolutely ridiculous because, as coaches have pointed out, when the season ends after Thanksgiving and then you have the bowl games still coming up, free agency begins and people can start signing during that first window while the season's still going on. That's the ridiculous part. Like that needs to, at worst, we need to fix that sort of gap. To where we've got kids that are playing in the college football playoff that aren't going to be with their team because they know they're going to be in the transfer portal. So they have to leave to get an early jump on that. That's ridiculous type stuff.
To me, it makes more sense to do it like the NFL does it.
Yes.
Which is a later spring practice is gone. You don't do anything until summer and you start to get into OTAs.
You know, they could solve all of this by doing what the NFL does and signing kids to contracts. But they don't want to do that. They being college, because then that would make them employees. So this is why I don't feel bad at all for anyone in college football, because this is an easy solution. Let the players have a say in it, but you don't want to. You literally have a multi-billion-dollar organization that is trying to operate as a billion-dollar organization and as some sort of charitable 501c. We're in this for academics and we're not, none of these people are employees. It doesn't work. And eventually college athletics is going to have to come to a reckoning. And I just don't believe that the House settlement is going to fix that. I think these problems that we're talking about are going to continue to exist because there's not one body that gets to decide on any of this. And there never will be until it's under one umbrella or Congress gives them antitrust exemptions.
So the committee that's talking about this is expected to recommend a new calendar to the commissioners of
the conferences.
Yeah. In the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Because they need to figure this out.
Yes.
Like this one in particular is pressing.
Isn't it crazy that we are we're only 80 something days away from college football starting?
Yeah.
And we have no idea what the actual for the next year, what the future even looks like.
Well, but the settlement says, I think the payments have to start.
Yes.
This fall.
So
they
better figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, and
July 1 is the deadline for this committee.
Yeah. And with the college football playoff expansion. So, that they have we're back and forth between the 5 conference champions and then everything else being at large. And then the 4 automatic qualifiers for the Big Ten and the SEC, and then 2 for the ACC and the Big 12, and then the other at large. So I guess that's all been scrapped because no one can agree on anything. And now they're saying all options are back on the table. If they don't figure this out this year, this calendar year, it just reverts back to the old system.
Which is what?
What we have now. The expand,
Yeah,
just what we have.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
But I mean, but will we? It's like,
or maybe they'll just play another year.
Or maybe just play another year.
Because they only have one more year.
Yes. It wouldn't shock me if you ended up with just
whatever. We can't figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll just play it like last year.
Yeah. This thing's a mess, man. I wouldn't even, honestly, there is no commissioner in college football. I mean, there's commissioners of conferences. I wouldn't even know how to go about trying to appease all the entities in the college football world. And I guess you only need to appease the Big Ten and the SEC, right? I guess if you get them to agree on it, everyone else has to shut up and take the pill and swallow it.
Shedeur Sanders was a dumbass last night or yesterday.
Yeah, we've all done
this morning.
I have not done what he did.
You've never, yes.
100 miles an hour? No.
You've never driven 100 miles an hour?
No.
Oh.
No.
I stand corrected. I thought that Outback, man. I thought for certain.
No.
The 2013 Jack Rop Special doesn't turn up that high, huh?
Yeah,
Again,
man.
I am risk averse. I've told you the story that I went to Laguna Seca Raceway,
the raceway
to cover the PI or to cover the kart. What was it? The old kart races out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had their media day out there. So Alan Davis, our old boss, my first boss, sent me there. So I was just by myself. I'm just covering. What I'm doing is I'm interviewing the racers,
getting sound
for audio for when they come to Portland at PIR. This was years and years and years ago. So the media had the media was allowed to do the race school, the Richard Petty Race School, which is at Laguna Seca, and you spend half the day in class, and then they put you in a car, and you freaking get out there and race.
Yeah.
And the guys at the end of it, I finished last amongst all media. I was like out there putting on my blinker, and
Rob's doing hand signals as well out the window.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. Yeah, the guys were like, "What are you doing?"
Well,
they couldn't understand that I'm like, to me, I'm going really fast. He's like, you weren't going that fast. Like they were lapping you.
Well, I stand corrected on that. We've all done this then. I apologize.
Even the straightaways, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go.
You top out at a moderate 85 or what?
Some lady, yeah, like 85. Some lady passing me.
Now I kind of want to see footage of
some grandma. I mean, I thought I was booking.
He's trying to check his mirrors.
Turns out not.
Some of those turns were hard.
Turns out not so much. Well, you're safe out there on the road, and that's the important thing.
So no, we have not all done what Shooter Sanders did. We'll get to that next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on The Fan, big news out of the association today. The Buss family is entering an agreement to sell their majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers. That is a $10 billion valuation for the team. The new owner is Mark Walter. He already has holding interests in the Dodgers and the Sparks, among other sports entities. The NBA Finals resumed Thursday back in Indianapolis for Game 6. It's still unclear the availability of Tyrese Halliburton as he's dealing with a right calf injury. The Pacers need to win to force a Game 7 against the Thunder. On the gridiron, former Packers corner Jair Alexander has signed with the Ravens on a one-year, $6 million deal. On the diamond, the Mariners lost the rubber game against the Red Sox today in their matinee game, 3-1 the final. And in Omaha, the semifinals going on both sides of the bracket today. Coastal Carolina has already punched their ticket to the final after they beat up on Louisville 11-3. Right now, Arkansas taking on LSU. The Hogs with a 1-0 lead in the top of the sixth. They would need to beat LSU twice to reach the final. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com. It's time for Who's Leading the Charge. A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
Jamaica. Story out to the gap in left center field. This is gone. Story, a two-run home run. And the Red Sox take the lead back. It's 3-1 in the fourth inning.
Yeah, only the Mariners can make Trevor Story look like Babe Ruth. But yet, here we are, and they lost again today.
Yeah, they won yesterday. They bludgeoned the Sox. 8-0.
Yeah, they suck. Did you see the Julio Rodriguez, the bit that Adam Jude wrote about Julio Rodriguez? We're going to need to talk about this.
Was this the Julio isn't who we think he is?
Well, that I don't know. It was
Maybe?
this. It was maybe. It was the Red Sox scouting report on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Not.
This is yes. I did see this.
Not so good. Battery Exchange, reliable, affordable batteries for cars, boats, RVs, golf carts, and more. Online at batteryexchange.com. Powered by Continental Battery Systems. Mention code BXT10 for 10% off.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you
The Fan.
That's Buck and I having a fight.
Hey, Red Danny, Red Danny.
Fighting over control.
Hey, Red Danny, Red Danny.
And now he's playing everything I'm playing. We're being childish.
Grow up, you two.
I ripped his ass, quite frankly.
Hey,
Hey, you don't want to fight with the Clydesdale.
I know.
Although I did see you kick the other day, and it was...
Yeah, my high
Yeah,
kick.
he was doing kicks, wasn't he?
Yeah, I do high kicks now.
It was scary.
Is that a Phil Mickelson thing?
Watch
That
out.
was a Phil Mickelson
Phil Mickelson's
thing.
high kicking?
When he lost all that weight at first, there were a bunch of viral videos of him doing like roundhouse kicks over his 6-foot friends.
What?
Yeah, if you look up Phil Mickelson kick, I bet you'll find it.
I had no idea that Phil Mickelson was kicking.
He was like doing it as like a party trick. He's all dressed up and he does a kick over somebody.
Nice job, you kicker.
All right. See if I can find this. Wasn't aware.
Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders pulled over early Tuesday morning for driving over 100 miles per hour.
It was like 101. It was like just over 100 miles an hour.
In a 60.
That is driving over 100 miles an hour.
In a 60. That's a freeway.
Why are you all of a sudden
I am defending
minimizing this gross negligence upon the quarterback of the Browns?
First off, let me state that no one thinks that Shedeur Sanders is a bigger idiot than me. And the coverage of him is well, maybe not no one. But the dude's an idiot. He did most of this to himself, and the way they've handled this is tomfoolery. But my God. So when you say in a 60, yeah, he's on a freeway. That's freeway speed. And he was, do we know what kind of car he was in? My guess it was really nice.
It doesn't say.
Okay, so I'm assuming that it's not a Ford Taurus. I'm assuming that it's a very nice car.
Does that make it okay?
It does. 100 miles an hour.
I don't like your attitude on this.
You're telling now
that's dangerous.
According to old man Rob,
that is reckless.
Buckley, if you're on your way down to Bend and you're on that stretch like before you get to Madras, you're telling me that you've never hit 100 miles an hour?
As a man who's had speeding tickets for going in the range of 85, no, I usually top out around there.
Oh my God.
Now, I've driven faster than that on Autobahn, but that's about it.
Dude, when COVID was around and there was no one on the freeway, I don't want to know what my bridge speed was. It may not have been 100 on a regular basis, but it was hitting 90. It's 101.
Looks to me like he's in a truck, but I can't.
So if you're like in one
tell.
of those like Raptors or you're in one
there
of the
it is.
Yeah, like
it's
you're
what is that thing?
Maybe it's one of the Dodge T-Rexes or whatever. I mean, those trucks have monster engines. It's 100 miles an hour. Who cares? Take your ticket. Now they probably will write him a ticket for 80 so that it's not like a reckless driving thing. And you weren't drunk, right? You weren't. Oh yeah, it was a Dodge TRX. It was that's the Dodge big jacked up fast truck. That thing's got a monster engine in it. Although 12:30 at night, probably not the best in the world.
Nothing good happens after midnight.
Nothing good happens after midnight.
Finally admitting there's something wrong with this behavior.
Dude, it's a $250 ticket.
Well, that's...
You don't see Dylan Gabriel out there doing it,
That's a great line.
Someone says I'm literally doing 100 right now.
and texting. God, you people are awful.
100 miles an hour is not
being a man of
yes,
increase.
it is.
It's not that bad.
That's extreme.
It's fast.
That's extreme.
It's not.
It's
fast.
extreme and it's dangerous. And you should be ashamed of yourself.
I need to know where it was at. If you're going down a side street at 100 miles an hour, yes. But if you're on an open stretch of road, freeway, and it's 12:30 and there's no one around and you're doing 100 miles an hour, who cares? Just as long as you're not drunk and you're not weaving in and out of traffic. My God,
I'm not voting for you.
It's 100 miles an hour.
You've lost my vote. I will be voting for, I don't know, whoever's running against you at this point.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would it have been better if it was 92?
They're eating the dogs.
92? Well, yeah, that's better than 100, yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking 8 miles. So that's what make this reckless is 8 miles an hour.
No, I think they're both reckless.
Don't they cite you
But
for,
92 is better than 100.
Doesn't reckless kick in at like 15 or 20 over the speed limit?
I think it's 20 or 25. They can. But as long as you're not being a D-bag and
being
you're not
41 over might be being a D-bag.
No, it's not. Oh my God.
I think it is.
I think we know who here drives an effing Subaru.
Well,
you
I
two.
think we know.
2 hands up, baby.
I think we know here who's reckless, and it's you trying to justify this ridiculous behavior. You should be behind bars.
No, a grown man shouldn't be driving a Subaru Outback is the answer to this. 80, maybe 85, and after that, no more.
Well, I don't want the tickets.
Couldn't possibly 85.
It's called being a responsible adult, you ass. Tired of your ass.
I've had to like COVID for the speeders out there. COVID was like, that was the best thing about COVID.
Well, that was like being on a racetrack with no one else out there. That was a little different than just doing 100 now.
That's what 12:30 in the morning is. There's no one around.
Yeah.
Just the cop was around on this case. I'd like to know from a cop out there, is 100 miles an hour on a freeway, no one else around, is that a big deal? And it clearly wasn't, because he wrote him a $250 ticket. He didn't impound the car. He didn't read him a riot act. He was like, here's your ticket.
Well, cops see a lot of bigger deals than that.
Yes.
That's pretty obvious. But I think it is a big deal. And I've never been more disappointed in you.
Yeah, want to go 100, move to Germany? Oh,
yeah.
For God's sake.
Move to Germany. Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
100 miles an hour.
What does that mean? What is
Thinking like some Bavarian milkers.
Do you speak
German?
Do you speak German? Get a German car. Some cars perform better at high speeds.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't an Audi German?
Audi's German, yes.
I used to have a German car.
Yeah. And you went 60 miles an hour into it?
Yeah, because I'm an adult.
I guarantee when you had your Audi, you were going faster than I need to see.
I go the speed limit.
I need to see you on the freeway. There is zero chance you're going speed limit.
I go the speed limit. I am responsible. Unlike you.
So it said, hey, you got a lot of Subaru drivers out here, Sook. Sorry to the Subaru drivers. If you're out there driving.
Gee, thanks.
Just saying. It just happens I have the two biggest ninnies in the world on my show with me that both drive Subarus. Apparently at very manageable speeds of 65. God forbid.
Well, the kind that won't get you ticketed for reckless speed.
That's right. I would say sensible.
Sensible, that's right.
Subaru drivers, yes. Thank you.
Let me state for the record, if we had any sort of balls in this country, the freeway speed would be
up to you.
80 to 85. That should be the speed limit.
I will say, we drove from Kansas to here recently, and some stretches of highway that are 80.
Yeah.
Out there in like Wyoming.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
But I did not drive 100.
I would like to point out
mainly because I was in a U-Haul.
Yeah, you can't. But had you been in a car?
I got to 85.
That's nice.
In the U-Haul.
Had you been in a performance car?
Not 100, no.
And you were on that stretch of road, you're easily touching 90, 95, and you're not even thinking about it. Because when you're in a good car that's meant to go fast, you won't even realize you're going 90. You'll just look down and be like, oh, crap, I'm doing 90. You don't even have to mash the gas to get to that. That's not that fast. Minimum freeways 85. This 55, 65 stuff, that's ridiculous. Get out of here.
All right. Well, on that note, I don't know what's next. We'll see what Sook can be a judgy a-hole about next.
You're the one being judgy.
Why?
You're 100 miles an hour.
How that's a crime.
He?
That is a crime, sir.
So is your parking violations.
What are you talking about?
Your refusal to pay for parking. You're a parking scofflaw.
That was years ago.
No, they were hurting you so bad.
I've been reformed. I'm reformed now. I pay parking kitty. You know what they actually did? They actually made it easier for me to pay for parking, and so I actually do it now.
Now you do it?
It's easy because you just go parking kitty. Now, I will say, a lot of times those stupid green things, they never work.
The kiosks.
Yes, they never work. So I'm
ridiculous.
just like, screw it.
Yeah.
Give me a ticket. I'll fight it. Bitch.
100 miles an hour.
All right.
I'm Team Sanders. Let's go.
Sook will judge us on something next, I'm sure, on the Fan Sports.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics, brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Kenny Wayne Beer
gonna score!
Oh my God!
Kenny Wheaton's gonna score!
Well, the son of Kenny Wheaton has made his college commitment. No, he's not going to Oregon. In fact, he did not have an offer, but he's going to be going to the rival Oregon State University. Kenny,
what?
Kai Wheaton's going to score for the Bees.
Boy, what would happen if he had an interception to win? I guess they still call it the Civil War, whatever the hell that is now. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, Mike Parker should call it. Kai Wheaton's gonna score. I mean,
yeah, you got to make that.
You have to do that.
100%.
Yeah.
He also had offers from Houston, Arizona, and Cal.
Well, go Bees.
Mott's PDX, the future of building, is here.
If you're considering new construction and want it done right and fast by a team that's focused on innovation, collaboration, and creativity, you want Mods PDX. At Mods PDX, we craft beautiful, sustainable
So I wanted to give you that Julio Rodriguez bit that we referenced.
Yeah, the scouting report.
Well, so I didn't see this on the show. Have you watched The Clubhouse, A Year with the Red Sox?
I have not.
So it's on Netflix, and it's a behind the scenes. It followed the Red Sox through the 2024 season.
Mm-hmm.
And on there, I guess Adam Jude picked it up at the Seattle Times as the Mariners are playing the Red Sox right now.
Yeah.
And the pitching coach of the Red Sox, named Andrew Bailey, his scouting report, because they Netflix was just filming,
Sure.
and they were going through the Mariners hitters. This was last year, as they were getting ready to play the Mariners, and he said Julio Rodriguez, very, very aggressive. All he wants is the ball in the middle. Anything middle, change up middle, slider middle, that's all he can hit. Yeah. Essentially saying, dude, if you don't give him anything right down the middle, he can't hit. He'll fish, and you can get him, out. So this has now, it's kind of become a thing. With Julio, even though it was said last year.
It's rather damning.
It is rather damning, and I mean, and Julio's he's not having a bad start.
No,
this year, but
he's had some slow starts.
Well, last year I think his start was way slower, was it not?
I think so, yes.
Than this year. This year he's on pace for 30 home runs. His WAR is good.
He's hitting right now. He's hitting 258 with 10 home run and 34 RBI.
He swings though. This is what Adam Jude was following up on this. He swings at 57% of all the pitches that he sees.
Yeah.
That is the 6th highest rate in the majors.
Well, he has over his career he has struck out 145, 175, and 156 times.
Yeah, and I guess it's some of it is by design. He doesn't want to let the pitcher get too comfortable in any given at bat.
Yeah.
So he swings. He's aggressive. And a lot of guys are. I mean, that's some guys. It's just easier for them to hit when they're aggressive, and not thinking about it. Versus the guys who are a little bit more picky. Yeah. He's not afraid. That said, it's costing him a ton, and teams are not. They're not that scared of Julio Rodriguez.
No. So again, this goes back to what they were asking: is Julio not? The Seattle Times, I think it was, they asked the question, is Julio not who we thought he was? In that, he came off that second year because he was rookie year, and then he had the second year where he had the breakout. I think he finished top 5 in the MVP voting.
They are who we thought they were.
And it was the idea that we have up in Seattle, you have the next Ken Griffey Jr., that you have the next Alex Rodriguez. And Seattle had not had a transcendent star. Ichiro was. But that was a long time ago when Ichiro was that. And he wasn't necessarily homegrown, and he wasn't necessarily viewed as the best player in baseball. Did you have that now in Seattle with Julio? And here we are a year and a half later, and I think that is the question is Julio, no one's saying he's bad, but are you having to come to the realization that he is not the transcendent star that you thought he was? And
he's not.
As of right now.
But I think, he's not. There's no question he is not what you thought he was. That doesn't mean he's bad. But I think what the Mariners are hoping is that he still turns into that. Like, he's still evolving. Like, he's pretty young.
Yeah.
So you can't just say this is what he is.
I think he's 25 or turning 25 this year.
But the early returns are not maybe what you expected.
Well, you had 1 year of he's going to be a star, 1 year of and then this year is I think the verdict is still out.
Well, DePoto says he always hits for more power later in the season.
Yeah.
And he expects that to happen again.
So
later in the summer. A lot of guys do. I mean,
sure.
Are you out of your mind?
So we'll see. But that power's not everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just he's frustrating. He is. He strikes out all the time. He swings at everything. It's just you want more.
Yeah.
He leaves you wanting more.
Well, and therein lies again. I think this goes back, which is why I thought it was an interesting question. Is he going to be one of those guys that always leaves you wanting more because of what the potential that you think is? And sometimes that's on us. If you go on and you end up being a guy that hits 265 every year and 28 home runs and 90 RBI, and you do that for 8 years, you're a hell of a player. You're an all-star. But if we thought you were going to be Ken Griffey Jr., can you look at that and say that you ended up being disappointed? I think that's the LaMarcus Aldridge effect. LaMarcus Aldridge was really, really good in Portland, and no one here ever loved the guy because you always thought he could be better. We do that so often with people. We're like, yeah, he's good, but I think he could be better. Well, who's to say? Not everyone that comes up is going to be Ken Griffey Jr.
I think the thing about Julio, though, is his tools, boy, they jump off the screen at you.
Yeah.
He is a specimen. and amazing in center field, and just the exit velocity, and just like he has everything you need.
Yep.
And so I don't think it's just on the hype or just on people just having to lower their expectations. He should be better. I think they're wanting more out of him over the next, I mean, they signed him to a long deal.
Yeah.
It was 8 more years or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
They're expecting more from him. And I mean, DePoto, he basically said it. He's like, this is just the evolution.
Yeah.
We're patient, and that's fair. That's totally fair.
Yep.
But we'll see in 5 years, they need more out of that guy.
Yes. Yes. Especially when you look and you got Cal Raleigh that does appear right now to be an ascending best player at his position in baseball. Well, it's not, and he's not, he is the best player at his position in baseball. And I think you thought that was going to be Julio and that it's not the case.
All right. We have a verdict. The club is next on The Fan.
Hey, it's Dusty.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on The Fan, the big sports news today, the Los Angeles Lakers majority stake being sold by the Buss family, with the franchise valued at $10 billion. The new owner is Mark Walter, CEO of the TWG Global Group. He already has holding interests in the Dodgers and the Sparks, among other franchises. In the NBA Finals, Game 6 comes your way tomorrow. The Pacers needing a home win over the Thunder to force a Game 7. Tyrese Halliburton's status still very much in question with that right calf injury. On the gridiron, former Packers star corner Jair Alexander signed with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a one-year deal worth $6 million. The deal reunites Alexander with college teammate Lamar Jackson. On the diamond, the Mariners dropped the rubber game of their 3-game set with the Red Sox this afternoon. They lose 3-1 at T-Mobile. Meanwhile, in Omaha, Coastal Carolina punches their ticket to the final, beating Louisville 11-3 earlier this afternoon. Right now in the late game, it's LSU with a 2-1 lead over Arkansas going into the 7th inning. The Tigers can advance to the final with a win tonight. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan Merch Locker has a new black 1080 The Fan hoodie, as well as classic long and short sleeve tees. Get yours now at 1080thefan.com. The following show may contain adult themes not suitable for children.
Shut the hell up.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Suk.
It does go well with a chicken.
I didn't know hanging out with you was making me smarter.
Full disclosure, Morty, it's not.
Temporary superintelligence is just a side effect of the mega seeds dissolving in your rectal cavity.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And once those seeds wear off, you're going to lose most of your motor skills, and you're also going to lose a significant amount of brain functionality for 72 hours, Morty. Starting right about now.
Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk is brought to you by Pub Beer, the official beer of Cheap Fun.
I want my porch.
I'm a man. I'm 40. You got baby nuts.
Take me outside. How about that?
Teams really don't tackle in the fall anyways. How many days would you venture to guess that you would go live anyways? Coach? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, we still there.
Hello.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
Am I bugging you, Ron? You do it anymore, you're gonna have problems.
Being a man of increase.
Give them hot milk. You know, we have little cookies.
Yeah! I'm old. I am dying.
What an exciting time.
Thank you. Hello.
Sorry, I'm caught up in a clip of is it Mel Blanc or Blanc that did all the Looney Tunes voices?
Ooh, I don't know how to pronounce that.
I think it's Blanc, but I saw a clip. I don't know. I mean, this is one of those weird things that came across my timeline. I knew he did Bugs Bunny and a lot of those. He did basically every Looney Tunes character there is. He did Tweety. One guy did Tweety Bird, Sylvester the Cat, Daffy Duck, the Roadrunner, Foghorn Leghorn, which might be the best of all of them. Did Speedy Gonzales, which seems uncomfortable now. Yosemite Sam. He did Pepe Le Pew. Of course, Elmer Fudd. And Bugs Bunny and Porky Pig. All one guy.
Didn't Pepe Le Pew also get canceled?
Yeah, he got canceled.
He was a little
rapey.
Well, he was problematic.
He's problematic, yeah. He's sexually harassing that poor cat who always walked under a painted fence or whatnot. I didn't realize that when
Penelope Pussycat.
Yes. When you're watching all of those cartoons, that is Mel just speaking to himself, doing all of those voices.
And Mel Blanc, a great radioman.
Oh, is he a radio guy?
Yeah. Big radio guy, personality.
And I also am fascinated. This might just be me. I will watch. I will get caught in a death spiral watching someone do a character voice, but in like watching them do it. Like watching him do Daffy Duck, I could watch that for an hour. Or watching the South Park guys, because they do all those two guys, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they do almost all of the South Park voices. So hearing, I don't know which one does which, but hearing Trey Parker do Cartman, but you're watching Trey Parker, blows me away. Because it's not someone doing an impression, it's you hear Cartman.
It's him, yeah.
Seth MacFarlane's another guy. He can do all the Family Guy voices, and you're just like, oh my God. And it makes me think I think it was Jon Stewart that told the story once about he was on an airplane and Mike Judge, the guy that does Beavis and Butthead, was either sitting in front of him or behind him. And Stewart said he was talking to like his wife or his buddy, whoever was sitting next to him. And he goes, I think that's Mike Judge. And he was trying to build up the courage to ask him, hey, is that Mike Judge? And I guess Mike Judge heard him and realized that was Jon Stewart. And so he said from like behind him or whatever, he just started hearing, and Mike Judge started doing Beavis and Butthead talking to Jon Stewart.
Oh, that's great.
And Stewart goes, dude, I just wanted it to go on forever. And I don't know if anyone else is, but I am fascinated by people doing their characters' voices, but watching them.
So we've been corrected. It is Mel Blanc.
Blanc.
And are you ready for hot Mel Blanc facts?
Yes.
He's from Portland.
Get right the hell out of town.
His radio career started in 1927.
Right here at the Fan.
Right here. Actually, close. He started at KGW on a program called The Hoot Owls.
Are you S-ing me right now?
Nope.
It's amazing.
And then in 1932, he moved to KEX.
Wow.
Which is still on the air here. And he produced and co-hosted a show called Cobweb and Nuts.
Dude, I would listen to the Cobweb and Nuts show.
That was with his wife.
Oh.
Then
which one was Cobweb? Which one was Nuts?
I think we know the answer to that. Boy, that's
Yeah, it's a little problematic, right?
And then she encouraged him to move back to L.A., and that's when he joined Warner Brothers.
Huh.
But yeah, he's a Portland guy.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That,
And he looks exactly like you would think.
Exactly like you would think. Yes.
Kind of like a thin mustache, handsome, slicked back hair.
So Blanc, not Blanc.
Blanc, Mel Blanc.
Mel Blanc.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that name, and I knew he did a couple of the Looney Tunes, and like I know he's Bugs. I just didn't know he did all of those. And a lot of times with cartoons, I do know that one guy, like Hank Azaria, that does The Simpsons, he does a ton of characters. And so does, I forget the guy's name, I can picture him, but the guy that does Homer does a ton of voices on The Simpsons as well. And I don't know, I just think that's a cool, I'm always jealous. I think that's a cool skill. People that can do different voices like that.
He's also a Freemason.
Course.
And a member of Midday Lodge in Portland.
Don't know what that is, but well, he was because he died in the 80s. But
yeah, he died in '89.
Yeah,
but he held a membership at the lodge for 58 years, and he was a Shriner.
Oh, so Mel was he was a man of the people.
Yes, he was.
Me and my buddy were thinking about joining the Freemasons just because why not? We think maybe there's something cool going on at the Freemasons. I don't know what's happening there, but I want in. Feel like some sort of weird secret society thing. Let's do it.
He's not buried here. He's buried in Hollywood.
Well,
but
I'm assuming he's got like a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all that. And
his gravestone reads, "That's all, folks."
Porky Pig. Fitting.
That's great.
And let me just state for the record, the best of those voices, and it's not even close, Foghorn Leghorn.
Agreed.
The Southern, and that's, I mean, it's when you do your Southern, that's basically Foghorn Leghorn.
So I'm basically Mel Blanc?
At this point, yes. This is.
We've given away too much to arrive at these political compromises.
Here now.
Here now. Good luck to me. Here now.
I love that whole rant. Yes, Foghorn Leghorn. Beautiful.
Okay, well, now we get to a segment regarding the Karen Reed trial.
Yeah.
The verdict is in.
We got one.
Next on The Fan.
Here now.
The home of dirt and spray.
Well, we were talking about it yesterday that the Karen Reed trial, the jury was deliberating, and today they came back with a verdict, and she is not guilty.
Yeah, the first trial was a hung jury,
Yeah.
and they retried her right away, and she's scot-free now.
She is acquitted.
Yes.
Which is great because me being a legal expert, I didn't think she did it.
You did make that call. Now, you did send me to the wrong, you said to go to Netflix, and I couldn't find the damn documentary, so now...
Have you watched it? Did you watch it?
Well, no, because...
It was on Max.
It was on Max.
Yeah.
And now, so do I need to go and watch it now that I know that she's innocent?
I tell you what, dude.
You saying that she was framed.
She was framed.
And that's why I think it's worth
Yes.
watching, because how she came within this close of like being thrown away for her life because of this framing is pretty wild.
Look, at the very least, there was so much police misconduct that it is wild that she even had to have a second trial. Like, based on the evidence, and you'll see the evidence in the documentary if you watch it, I think it's like 3 parts, maybe.
It's 3 parts that are a little under an hour each.
Yeah. So it's not that long of a watch, but there is dude, that case, it had it all. Like, it is that quintessential, oh my God, how could this be happening case?
Yeah.
But also really good because there are some things that you look at her and go, well, maybe she did. So it's like this, it's a really complex and quite frankly kind of Hollywood script,
Yeah,
right?
But we don't know that she was framed. We just know that they couldn't prove beyond a shadow of doubt she was guilty. But we don't know that anyone was framed her.
That's right. But the fact that
But if she didn't do it,
yes, why
then
is
there's
she,
certainly a frame job that's out there.
there was an attempted frame.
There was an attempt to frame her.
There's no question because she was on trial.
If she didn't hit him, then why was the dude
Right.
out in the snow
Well, no, but
right
here's
back
the
where
thing.
she'd backed
We
up?
don't know that she didn't hit him. We just know that they couldn't prove. Just because you're found,
No,
O.J.
that's right.
Simpson was found not guilty.
No, that's right. But I think if you watch the doc,
Yeah, you'll think that there was
it's
a frame.
pretty clear that she didn't hit him.
Yeah.
That's something that's very nefarious. All of it. It's really, I think it's a really good documentary. Anyway.
Well, it's kind of scary because there is always the idea that if, and you see this a lot with, like with women or people that are involved with cops, and how do you, if a cop does something bad to you or you're involved with the police, do you ever feel like you get a fair shake? Right? Like,
Or that you could go to the police.
And by the way, the guy, he was a cop.
He was
the
a cop.
The guy who died, and that was her boyfriend, and they were fighting.
Yes.
And they were at they were at the police chief's house, and so it's this whole, and then, I mean, dude, the lead investigator on the case was caught searching her phone for nudes and calling her a whack job, see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, it's problematic.
Very. So there was all kinds of things like that. And so...
Wait, did he find any nudes?
She's kind of hot.
I think he actually texted to one of his colleagues, still no nudes, but she's got a flat ass or something like that.
I mean, these guys...
And these are the
they
people
just-
that are in charge of...
Yes.
of
Yes.
Yeah, of conducting the investigation.
Yeah.
By the way, from the home of the police chief. Like, come on, man. It's like the whole thing. If you really just look at the evidence, objectively, just look at the evidence, there is no way they could have put her behind bars unless some nefarious stuff was going
and to
on.
be fair, they didn't. So, I mean,
Exactly.
they attempted
But
to.
I tell you what,
They
they
attempted.
did, and it got really close. It was a hung jury the first time. I couldn't believe it.
Because there was at least one person or people on that first jury that were unequivocally sure that yes, she should be guilty. That's why it was hung.
Because I do think for a lot of people, the idea is that, you know, hey, if the cops say that you did it, there's a good chance you did it. And that's, you know, that's kind of a scary thing if there really is a frame up there, and good for her that she's found innocent. Now, I know she went through hell, but on the plus side, she's about to be really rich.
Totally.
Because she's going to...
Get ready to see her everywhere.
Everywhere.
Book deal.
And by the way, I don't fault her. She went through something horrific, right? She was put on trial for something she didn't do. She's been found innocent. Cash in while you can. But
I think
she's going to make a bunch of money.
The worst part about that documentary, and I don't know much about her other than that documentary,
Yeah.
is she seems quite awful herself.
Okay.
Like she's not a
sympathetic.
She kind of like
not really.
She glams herself up for the trials, and then instead of like going in the back door quietly, she kind of does a runway walk in front of all her fans. It's odd.
Well, maybe she enjoys the... And this is kind of the...
Oh, you know she does.
Well, and this is the weird part. Like, nowadays, you hear this from people all the time. People just want to be famous, and it doesn't matter for what. And so if she really is one of those people and she's been found innocent, oh my God, the Karen Reed, she will have an OnlyFans soon enough. Well, did you see remember the lady that had the meltdown on the airplane?
Tiffany
Which
Gomas.
one?
Tiffany
Gomas. She was the one that said that MFer is not real. She was like tripping out on like sleeping pills or something like that. And
she's like a Karen looking.
She's
well, but she was a hot.
She's launched an OnlyFans.
Oh, the brunette.
Yeah,
with the hair back.
She's launched the.
All right.
I'm putting it out there. Hey, check this out. It's so, if she's one of these attention seekers, she'll be on Big Brother. She'll be on VH1 doing some sort of reality thing. She'll be with Andy Cohen doing a housewife. Maybe she'll have an OnlyFans.
She'll be a legal consultant for whatever the next trial is that gets covered.
This may end up being the best thing that ever happened to her. She's not going to have to work again.
And imagine if she can sue the police department.
Yeah.
If they framed her and you can prove it.
I wonder about that.
Yeah, how are you going to prove that, though?
Well,
I'm guessing
watch this documentary.
You're not going to get a lot of cooperation from the police.
But there's stuff there's video of them seemingly like tampering with her taillight in the garage.
Yes.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
Anyway, it's worth a watch. But now that you know the result, I don't know if you'll go back and watch it. The best thing she said in that doc, because she does not do herself any favors in terms of, just when she's being interviewed for that documentary. The best thing she says, I thought, was there was a moment in there where she goes, "Did I hit him?" In other words, she was
so drunk,
well, she was drunk, but she was thinking, she just didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was very telling, and very telling of someone who is starting to be framed, but now is like, well, wait, did I? Could I have done that?
That's the thing that they say happens to people when the police tell you over and over again that you did something, and that it can get into your head where people start questioning.
That was the Brendan Dassey making a murderer thing.
They're like, oh my God, did I do this? Everyone keeps saying that I did. Yeah, I can screw with you.
So when she admitted that, I was like, ooh, that's something somebody who really doesn't know what happened to him and is innocent might say.
Huh.
So anyway, I'm happy she's not guilty, because I'd go to my grave thinking she did not do that. But
she is innocent, according to the court of law, and she cannot be retried. So now the question becomes, do the police try to find the real killer? I'm guessing not. I'm guessing for that poor bastard's family, the Justin, whatever, the guy that died, I'm guessing the family will never get closure, because if she didn't do it, that means that the cops were involved in this somehow.
Exactly.
And they ain't going to investigate themselves.
The cops know who did it.
Yes.
Because they were there.
Yes.
So, or at least the police chief was there. It was at his house.
Yeah.
At a gathering.
Which is why they're about to shut the F up forever. Much like OJ, I want one of them to come out and be like, I will not rest until I find the real killer.
Yeah, it's also why they're all texting and calling each other at 2:30 in the morning that night, and then they're like, no, I think it was a cell phone network thing, a butt dial.
I would like you guys to know that I'm doing a deep dive into my personal conduct and to find out how great I am. And I'll be releasing my findings shortly, but I fully anticipate my findings to turn up the fact that I am even better than I originally thought. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Well, my wife and I are battling over a snake issue at the house.
That's no good.
We have snakes.
It's no good.
And I'm not happy.
You don't like snakes.
I really don't like snakes.
No.
So that's next. But first, here's Buck.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, in the NBA, the Buss family entering into an agreement to sell the majority stake in the Los Angeles Lakers, with the franchise valued at $10 billion. New owner is Mark Walter. He's the CEO of the TWG Global Group. He already has holding interests, that is, in the Dodgers and Sparks, among many other sports entities. The NBA Finals resumes Thursday night back in Indianapolis for Game 5. Tyrese Halliburton's status very much in question as the Pacers need a home win to force a Game 7 in OKC. Halliburton, of course, dealing with that calf injury from Game 5. On the gridiron, former Packers star cornerback Jair Alexander has signed with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a one-year deal worth a maximum of $6 million. The deal reunites Alexander with college teammate Lamar Jackson. On the diamond, the Mariners lost their rubber game in the 3-game set with the Red Sox today. They fall 3-1 up at T-Mobile. And in Omaha, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers have punched their ticket to the final. They beat Louisville this afternoon 11-3 to advance. Right now, it's LSU and Arkansas doing battle. It's the top of the 8th inning. LSU clinging to a 2-1 lead. The Tigers can finish this one off. They will also punch their ticket to the final. Meanwhile, Arkansas would need to win twice to advance. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Ryan Buckley at the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
It's The Fan on FM. Go to 99.5 FM HD2 and enjoy high def 1080 The Fan.
Hey everybody, Sprague here. My friend Bill at Three Mountains Home Services want to make sure you and your household keep your drains cleared. What can we do to keep our drains running smoothly, Bill?
Some tips to prevent drain issues are to make sure you aren't using your sink as a trash can. Put as much leftover food scraps as you can into your compost or garbage before putting it down your drains. And certain things like
That's when I told the GM, I said, there's 2 things I need from you, and only 2. Otherwise, I'm just going to be here doing my job. One of them is pay me on time. The second one is don't make me step over snakes to get to the studio.
Yeah.
Pretty simple asks, don't you think?
It does feel like those are 2 reasonable asks. Although one of them was a garter snake, so
Well, these are gardener snakes because there aren't other. I mean, I don't know. I know there are other snakes around here, but
We don't have a lot of snakes.
Yeah, like in the city, these are gardener snakes, okay? And I'm going to preface this by telling you that I am well aware that my sort of
it's a phobia, if you will.
Phobia of snakes is pretty irrational,
Sure.
okay? I get that they're gardener snakes, and I get that they really aren't harmful in probably any way.
No, they stink a little bit.
But I got to tell you, it freaks me out, man. And we have them at the house, and the only way I would know this is Molly Tenji's is a huntress. And she finds them all the time.
So she brings them to you?
Well, she will. So I always thought it was a mole she was kind of digging after.
Sure.
But every once in a while, she'll be hot on something in the yard, and I'll just let her do it because it's like, that's what she does. It's like a dog doing what she's bred to do or like born to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, whatever, we'll see what she comes up with. Well, more often than not, she comes out of there with a snake. Now, sometimes they're killed because they're babies. Like she shakes them. Like she doesn't eat them. She shakes it
Kind
or
of ragdolls them.
Yeah, and they die. Other times she throws them around and then she's kind of freaking out about it, and then they slither away.
Sure.
Well, today I thought again she was going after the mole. I'm sitting out front doing my award-winning show prep, minding my own business, and there she is digging under a plant, and I'm like, that's cute. Look at that. Okay, I thought it was the mole. It wasn't the mole. It was the snake, and it was the mama snake. And she pulls that mama snake out of there.
It was big sucker. It was like 8 inches.
Dude, it was like 10 feet long.
It's a carcass.
It's like a boa.
I want to see how big these little snakes can get.
So here's my thing.
Okay.
Nurse Nice says they're fine. She goes, oh, I meant to tell you. I said, dude, babe, she just pulled out the freaking mama.
By the way, they can range up to 2 feet. So you can get 26
This one was 30 feet.
18 to 26 inches in length. So, I mean, look.
I'm like, look.
A 2-foot snake.
Dude, it was a bigger snake
It's
than.
a sizable snake.
This snake today that she pulled out of there was bigger than any of the others.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, and this rock that this snake lives under, it's right outside of it's a 10-foot putt from my front door.
Okay.
I'm not happy about this.
All right.
And here's why.
Ooh, it does say that there are some. The giant garter snake can grow well over 40 inches. So maybe you have a giant.
Like I said, 40 feet. So I go into her, I'm like, you should have seen this snake that she pulled out of there.
Yeah.
That Molly pulled out of there.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, I saw that one the other day. And she goes, I have a confession to make. I put the snake under there.
What?
So, okay. So the nurse there was someone at our house.
Okay.
Up at the main house. And because there are multiple on the property, as you know.
Yeah.
It's a vast.
It's a compound.
Yeah. She was leaving, going out the front door, and she got freaked out that there was a snake right on our porch, right on our front.
And you don't like that at all.
I wasn't there.
No, but
this
I'm
is
just
my
saying,
wife.
That's
no,
good.
this
Yeah.
is not good.
Yeah.
So she walks out and she tells my wife, "Hey, I just want you to know there's a snake out here." So my wife went out there and picked up the snake.
She raw dogged it
and put it over where this rock, under this rock.
What?
Where Molly found her today.
Huh.
So she tells me, she goes, yeah, the nurse was over here and she didn't really she got kind of freaked out by the snake being on the porch, and so I put it over there. And now Molly found it.
What?
Yeah. Well,
she's relocating snakes?
Yes, because she won't kill them.
Huh.
So my question is,
yeah.
And she goes, what is the problem with that? I'm like, well, the problem with it is, to me, that I hate snakes. Okay. And that was a pretty big snake.
Yeah.
So can you not just like fling it out into the street or something?
Like rehome it directly in front of where it was?
Yes.
I love the idea.
Were there no other options as far as places to put it?
I don't know. So when the snake was out there today, I put Molly in the house because she was going crazy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Because my wife's working. I was like,
well, I'm surprised you even wanted to deal with the snake.
Well, I wanted to get rid of I wanted to eliminate the snake.
Yes.
But by the time I went and got like a shovel to like
bash
kill it or whatever, it would have been gone.
Okay.
So now I had to think on my feet.
Yeah. There's no way you touch that with your hands.
No.
No.
I'm
that is
not
right.
touching it.
I cannot think of a situation where you would bend down and pick up that snake.
Zero chance.
Yeah.
Negative 20% chance. I had a rake.
Yeah.
I went and got the rake.
Rakes are good.
I tried to get the rake to scoop up the snake, and I honestly, dude, I was gonna flip that thing 800 miles across the street.
Catapult that sucker as far as it would go.
Not that I've ever flung anything into the neighbor's yard, but if you have, let me tell you, it's kind of a rewarding feeling.
Anyway, the snake slithered away back under the rock.
Oh.
So my wife's like, well,
So now you have a snake living under your rock.
We have a ton of snakes. Molly is constantly hunting up the snakes.
Realize that snake's gonna have snake babies.
I know, and this is my problem. This is part of my argument.
Yeah.
You have a family of pet snakes.
Yeah.
My argument to her is, hey, they reproduce like at an alarming rate.
Yes, they do.
And pretty soon we're gonna have snakes crawling in our walls.
Yeah.
That's the leap that I take.
Remember that snake house in Idaho?
Yes.
That was a real thing.
And that comes to my mind every time.
They're
because
probably in your crawl space right now.
They're very close to our crawl space.
Oh, well.
And Molly's hunting one up every day. So she says, well, wait, they help with, because we've had a rodent problem before.
Yeah, well, now you have a snake problem.
She goes, well, they help with our rodent problem. Is that true? That gardener snakes help with rodents?
I'm guessing that is.
I believe that's correct.
That's probably correct.
They can eat, like, because they're pretty small snakes. I mean,
yeah, but I'm guessing that's what they probably feed on. I'm like, I don't know it, but yeah, I mean, I'm guessing snakes do eat little vermin, and they may not be able to eat a big rat, but they probably eat little mice or little mices, the babies. But here's the thing: aren't you trading a not really a rodent problem, an alleged rodent problem, for now a massive snake problem?
Well, I told her I would rather have to fight rats and mice than I would snakes.
Yeah, I'd rather do that too.
And she does not believe. She's the opposite.
Why? Why would you?
Well, because she doesn't like rodents. She thinks they're gross. Whereas snakes stay out in the yard and they just kind of kill bugs and do snake stuff.
So you now, not only are you battling snakes, but the snakes have a double agent, because Nurse Nice,
they have an ally.
They have an ally. The call is coming from inside the house. Nurse Nice is against you. Realize this is a war that you will not win, and it's only a matter of time, Isaac Ropp, till you come home and there is a snake in your house. Think about it. You've had a snake on your porch. You've had a snake now near the crawl space. A snake has been told that it now lives under the rock, and it probably has set up a little shop under there. What's to stop the snake from coming inside? You will have snakes in your house.
Well,
all because your wife is weak.
It's me and Molly
against
the snakes and Nurse Nice.
Wow.
So I'm just going to let Molly kill him. Molly's my only hope.
It really is.
Molly Tenji's, I'm just going to let her kill him.
Well, but
because usually I call her off the ball. I call her off the ball.
Why do you do that?
Well, I don't know.
Just so she's not mixing it up.
Yeah, I don't want her to like eat the thing, and then get snake butt. Snakeria.
Well, yeah, but and they're foul. The little garter snakes, they like.
But she doesn't seem to want to eat them.
No,
she doesn't really know what to do with them. She just kind of throws them around.
Can I suggest that you just start killing every snake you see?
Yes, but I need a. Okay, so that's another question. Is what is the? How do you kill?
You don't want to know how. I don't know if. Do you
how
want
are
my,
you?
I have battled.
Well, how are you supposed to kill a snake?
I'll tell you how I kill.
What do? Do you just cut its head off with a shovel or something?
Well, I mean,
kerosene in a match.
Do you light them on fire?
No, you can't.
I don't know.
That's difficult. There's a real. I don't want to like.
You just fling them into the.
Is there illegal things here or whatever? Like
It's
I
a gardener
don't
snake.
want
No one
like PETA coming after me or whatever.
No.
So
Whatever.
I get gardener snakes in my yard too.
What do you do
and
with them?
Weed whacker.
Oh, you weed whack them, or like lawnmower?
No, yeah. Well, when I lived in La Center, we had a den of the garter snakes, and they would come up from the ground, and we had because we lived on property. I had a John Deere riding mower, and let's just say, it wasn't uncommon for that mowing deck to get lowered. It's just there were parts of the yard that were cut a little thinner than the rest, and we just drop it. But if I'm outside and one of those little bastards comes across my feet, and I got the weed trimmer out there, thanks for coming, and it's done.
I liked the sound effect.
And then maybe,
I don't have a weed whacker.
Well,
I don't.
You should get one.
Well, I don't. I'm not going to get one. So how do I? I don't need one. So how do I kill?
Shovel, spade.
So
Get a spade.
You know what I need to do? This guy's right on the text line. I need to become a falconer.
Oh, there you go.
Well, the YouTube chat just says make sure you start carrying around an old sand wedge.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one too.
But the spade is better because then you know what a spade is.
Yeah.
Or a hoe, if you will. You can do that too. Because then you have a sharp edge, and they just, I'm like, and I know I'm going to catch flack for all that because people are like, oh, it's animals. I am the Colonel Kurtz of backyard animals. I don't screw around. When it comes to dealing with pests, I take a no-holds-barred approach. And it often gets criticized in my family and among circles, but I don't mess around. To me, if I'm going to go to war with something, I go to war. We're not doing this. We're not trying to win hearts and minds. We're eliminating things. And that's just the way we operate when you live out in the country. Now I've taken that sensibility to the city. And, if they don't want to, don't come in my yard. But if you come in my yard, especially as a snake or something that I deem undesirable, rats, it used to be possums, though I've made peace with them. I leave the possums alone now. I take no prisoners. It's go time. And then maybe if you want to, maybe that's where you can fling things into other parts of yards.
People really liking that snakeria bit.
I'm telling you, though, the weed whacker, it's the easiest thing in the world.
Sounds pretty simple.
It is quick. It is painless.
But don't you have to have it handy, like when you catch one?
Oh, no, dude. They're just
when
out
you see
there.
one?
Yeah. I mean, most of the time when I see one, it's like a lot of times I'm outside using the weed whacker or the lawnmower.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what if you don't, like today, I don't have a weed whacker other than for this purpose.
Yeah. All right.
So I would not be out there with it.
All right. Here's what you do. You go get yourself like a $40 Black & Decker weed whacker that has battery power, and you just lean it against the door. Do you have a shed, something outside? And when you encounter one of these, you pick it up and and it's over. Dude, it takes care of it in like 2 seconds. It's not even 2 seconds. It's over. You don't have to worry about gas, anything. It's just electric powered. Thanks for coming. Game over. Done. Yeah, someone said, yeah, don't set up shop in my yard, bitch. Exactly.
I'm going to have a talk with Molly. I think this is on her.
I'm guessing Nurse Nice would not like my weed whacker approach. What if you came home with a weed whacker and she was like, what's that for? You're like,
it's for the snakes.
I got to tell you.
Yeah, she would not. She would not.
I like this text that says, your wife gives you something. Well, your wife gives you sex. Molly Tenji's does not. Get used to the snake.
I think I can talk Molly into taking him out for me.
Rob had a mole problem once, and I suggested how I dealt with moles, and that was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you use a shovel? That's what my dad would do.
Nope. That's called the Mossberg, my friend.
Nice.
If you ever want to get rid of moles, sit out there at night and get yourself a couple Rainiers or whatever it is, and you just kind of wait to see the ground a-bubbling, and then that's called buckshot or birdshot if you want. Either way, and
mole shot. In this case.
Mole shot. Problem solved. Tried a lot of different ways to get rid of moles when I lived out in the country, and the best way I found is the Mossberg. The Mossberg is foolproof.
Well, we didn't have a Mossberg, and so my dad would convince us to go have a picnic in the front lawn where it was happening, and he would just stand there with the shovel ready to play whack-a-mole if they came out.
That seems inefficient.
Yeah, he didn't get many of them
because they don't. Yeah, no. They don't.
They'd pop their heads up, and he'd wind up, and they'd go away.
You know what you don't have to wind up with? Mossberg. I need my own wildlife show. Just, dealing with pests, Sucanic style. Waiting for PETA to protest.
All right, we got to wrap it up next on the Fan.
It's back. Your local Toyota dealers present the 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club on Tuesday, June 24th. Brought to you by Henderson & Daughter Windows and Doors and Phil Brook.